All right, everybody, here we go. Today is Thursday, July 9th, 2026. My name is Rob Carter. Welcome to the future. #1 radio/podcast in America. Isaiah, I got to tell you the story. We talked about it a little bit. You know that I like to listen to Dan and Drew on and off throughout the morning when I'm getting ready, right? So I make no bones about it. I'm a fan of Dan and Drew. I like both of the men. So I'm listening to their show this morning. And I got to bring this, if you don't know, if you're from listening in from around the country, I worked at a place called Real Talk Radio in St. Louis. That's kind of where the audience arrives. The audience probably, certain parts of the audience follow me here, I would assume, right? So I'm listening to it, and I had people that hated me when I was on the air there that disagreed with everything I have to say. But it is amazing. We talked about it a little bit yesterday of how people misconstrue what you're talking about. I was listening to this Christy Hutcherson, and she's walking, and we just talked about it yesterday. That's what makes this so beautiful. Christy Hutcherson is, I guess, a national security expert. She comes on their show. She's a regular on the Dan and Drew show. And she's talking about Mitch McConnell and his wife, Elaine Chao, potentially being a Chinese spy. Just yesterday, I told you that one of their hosts, Doug Billings, was patronizing toward me because I said the exact same thing. But the people in the app that don't like me are going, Rob needs to hear this. I'm like, Rob is the one that told you this. I did a podcast on this 4 or 5 years ago. 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. They must have not been listening yesterday, huh?
It's not that they don't listen. It's this. I don't think they have the ability to get through the brainwashing to understand what we're talking about. I'm not saying that China isn't trying to infiltrate the United States any different than we're trying to infiltrate what they do and what the Middle Easterns. It's just a spy game. All I've ever said was, how do you back Donald Trump when he hired Elaine Chao, his wife, and then we're talking about them being spies, and Donald Trump hires Mitch McConnell's wife, who they think is the spy. They don't even know anything about anything, and they think it's. I feel bad for people. I do. The lack of understanding of what we're getting at. I was listening. Kevin Slayton's a well-known personality in Missouri sports. Isaiah, I'm a Kevin Slayton fan from the sporting end of it. When he got into politics, I think he basically watches Fox News all day and thinks that he's more educated on what goes on in world events because of his understanding from Fox News. That's the only thing I can figure out. I'm back and forth.
Stephen Smith.
It's just unbelievable, really. When you hear these people talk, you just think, man, you understand when you get out of the Fox News cycle and you start to watch how it shapes the opinion of people, you realize how dangerous Fox News is. He's apparently a fan of Ben Shapiro, right? So he puts out something positive about Ben Shapiro, and then I see the back and forth going on between the people that don't like Ben Shapiro, and then he starts going off on Candace Owens. In the mind of these people, if I was to put them on a couch and put them under hypnosis, their mind cannot recognize that both sides could possibly be BS. They have to pick one side or the other. I saw this Kim was going back and forth with the people on the app or in the chat on Facebook with Kevin Slayton. Now, Kevin Slayton, if you don't know who he is, Kevin Slayton had a long-standing talk show on local radio. He's been around for 50 years. I think he was at Channel 4. He was in the sports department. He was on television for a while. He's a well-known person in the St. Louis area. She went back and forth, and this woman named Kim did. She went back and forth with him. And he is just so demeaning to her as if she doesn't understand anything. And I'm looking at that going, man, Kevin, I love you, brother, but have mercy on my soul. You are so off base. He thinks Ben Shapiro is the good guy only because Candace Owens is the bad girl. Not because he believes in what he's saying or that he's some sharp person or that he's not a scoundrel and a scumbag, only because he doesn't like Candace Owens. Therefore, he must like Ben Shapiro. It is amazing. That's why today's show is called The Business of Charlie Kirk. And I want to explain that very quickly. This is how the inner circle plays the game. And we got to remind everybody before we get going, Isaiah, like, share, comment, and subscribe.
Yes. And we actually got some a new call to action that we need your help with today. So let me share my screen here. I'll show everyone. As you guys have known, we've been rolling out different social profiles. So we have an Instagram. If you don't know, you can just go on Instagram and search The Rob Carter Show. You'll find it. It'll be a logo that looks like this on our Facebook page right here, similar. And then this is our Facebook page for The Rob Carter Show. So Rob has his own personal Facebook profile right now that we're streaming on. But this is going to be a Facebook page, and this is going to allow us to reach more people just because of how Facebook uses pages versus personal profiles. It allows the pages to reach more people. And to start streaming to this page, we need 100 followers on the page. we just created this page this week, so it's not like we've been trying to get a bunch of followers. But if you follow the show, go ahead and search for this new the Robb Carter Show Facebook page on Facebook and click that follow button. You can see I'm already following, so it's highlighted. It's gonna make me do that unfollow. But right here, you follow, and you can click that and follow the page. That way we can get to the 100 followers. We'll be able to start streaming there and continue to build that platform as well.
Beautiful. I can't find somebody was making mention. I don't know who that is. Somebody's talking about the on the and my son chimed in there. He said the app again, Isaiah. So my son was listening.
There it is.
I just have
you corrected yourself too, right there, right before you did it.
I marvel. I'm telling you, I marvel at how this whole system of communication works. I could not be more clear of my opinion.
Yeah.
It is an international game. The Democrats and the Republicans play in it. It is absolutely absurd to get caught up into party politics at this point. It is absurd to pick CNN over Fox News or Fox News over CNN. It is a global corporatized business of government. You have no say in what's going on in at the federal level. Zero. It doesn't matter what you think or say. It has zero relevance to what the establishment is going to do because it's run by corporations. As we were talking about China in that story that I was bringing up, this is my opinion, by the way. Still free to have it. When you're talking about Elaine Chao, and they were attacking me. Doug Billings was calling me basically a tinfoil hat conspiracy whack job because I said, wait a minute, you don't see a connection there. You don't understand that Elaine Chao might be a spy. Fang, right? Up in San Francisco, you got Dianne Feinstein, who had a Chinese driver for 20 years. I did an entire podcast about this 5 years ago. You got Darth Fauci building biological weapons in China, and he becomes the face of COVID, and they give him a Medal of Commendation at the end of it. You don't see the connect. I mean, how can people miss it? That's what I don't understand. And then Donald Trump hires Elaine Chao. Okay, that's the connection we need to be concerned about. Donald Trump and George Bush both hired Elaine Chao, who Christy Hutcherson says is a spy, but then throws all of her support behind Donald Trump, but cannot explain why the Donald Trump administration, who's draining the swamp and knows everything about everything, is playing 17D chess, would hire a Chinese spy and put him in his cabinet.
It's because she's super qualified, right, Rob?
It's bizarre. You got to admit it's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre to me. Anyway, let's talk about here's what's on the show today. Sorry. That caught me off guard because I was not expecting.
No, that's good. I think it's hilarious how we start the conversations and then we even though we're saying the same things, we still get attacked for it. That's funny.
It is. it's they don't like what I have to say. You know what the main reason is? If you're not in love with Donald Trump, and I mean love, like you got the posters on the wall and you kiss it with your fingers as you're walking out the door, that kind of thing, and you got the Trump gear and you got the hats and you got the pillows and you got the rubber dolls up in the corner and you've got all of his books and you've got his tweets down and you know everything that he says and does. If you're one of those people, anybody that challenges that and goes, wait a minute, you can love Donald Trump, but you should be skeptical of him, right? He is the president of the United States and things aren't that wonderful. I don't think they're that wonderful, are they, Isaiah? I don't think America's rocking and rolling.
Do you know what a mezuzah is? Okay, so a mezuzah is a Jewish piece of I don't even know what it's just a little box with a scroll in it from Deuteronomy that is on the doorposts of Jewish people's homes. You've probably seen it before. A little square box, it's on their homes. And Orthodox Jewish people, non-Orthodox people will have it on their home, but Orthodox Jewish people will kiss it as they come in and out the door. So when you did that, you said, I'm kissing the poster as I'm walking out the door. That's that's exactly what I thought of, right?
Look at my page. What's it say right here? What's it say right there, Isaiah?
Jesus, please. Always.
Jesus, please, every day. Guide the process every single day. I write, Jesus, please put the words in my mouth. If I go astray, remind me. And here we are. I just found that whole thing this morning very enlightening. It just cracks me up. So this is 2 days in a row where I'm being attacked for things that I did not say, attacked for opinions I do not share. It doesn't, and it's, I don't even know if it's frustrating.
We're also attacked for our criticisms of May 5 because they think that we don't want to lower income taxes, which is not the truth.
Right. We're commies. We're commies. Today on the show at 10:30, we'll talk a little Missouri politics with Gary Wiegert. I know Gary a little bit. I think I've had him on the show once before when I was on the radio. He's going up against a guy by the name of Niles Stevens. I don't know much about Niles. I met him a couple times as well, but it appears to me he is really tied into freedom principle, and he's really behind the Republican talking points in the state of Missouri, as far as I can understand. So Gary Wiegert is going up against Niles Stevens. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, for Missouri House Rep. We'll have Gary Wiegert on at 10:30. We'll talk about the Republican Party, how they're treating him. He's been around for a long time. And then for me, I want to talk about Amendments 3, 4, and 5, and whatever else he wants to get out as he's running his campaign for Missouri House Rep. And then at 11, there's a woman by the name of Kristen Shaughnessy. Kristen Shaughnessy and I got hooked up over the MMTLP fiasco. She reached out to me. I think she's a financial reporter in New York, if I'm not mistaken. And she said, you should cover this story. It's about a woman named Braylon Hallinsby. Braylon found out she had brain cancer at the age of 16. And her mother, I think it's called DC Vax. Let me write that down so I don't forget it. DC Vax is the treatment that she wants. As I understand it, was developed in the United States, but she's going to have to go to London to get this surgery, and they will not pay, or to get this treatment, and insurance won't pay for it. This is why I love Dr. Helen Gellhot so much. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. If Dr. Helen Gellhot has information about something that will be a cure for you or will help treat any particular disease, she doesn't wipe it off the table because her hospital or the insurance companies won't play with it, right? She'll let you know what's going on. So this woman's going to tell us her journey. It's a very sad story. I think her daughter's just learning to talk again after brain surgery. But it is amazing what goes on in this country, and the citizens just allow it to happen. They just allow these things to happen. It's like Jim Brewer said the other day. Can you imagine being in control of the levers of power in the United States and around the world, and you make people pay for water? You make them pay for all of their natural resources. You get control of the natural resources and then make all the human beings pay for it.
Yeah. They're just continuing to monopolize things. I just read an article this morning in Illinois, 99.9% of the water is now going to be owned by American Water.
There you go.
They just consolidated into one company. And so it's similar to how I feel about Ameren and electric here in Missouri, right? I don't have another option. That's the only option I have.
Monopoly.
And that's what my wife says about, she's, a doctor of chiropractic. Same thing with insurances. She's a big advocate against the insurance companies because of how they treat their patients. And
it's awful.
And it's very awful. She has to work. She works with patients who aren't even her patients, who just need help sometimes, that call her and don't know what to do. And that's just the nature of our system right now with the medical system, is that they will tell you how you get your treatment done and what treatments you need before you can get the treatment you actually need. Right.
Isaiah, I'm taking a medicine right now that I took years ago. My son took it. It is for cystic acne. So I'm the kind of guy that I don't get pimples that often, but when I get them, they're like little marbles underneath my skin. And because I have to be on camera for 3 to 4 hours.
That's the most annoying, because it's like, it doesn't feel like I can get it off my face.
You can't get it out. You can't get it out. I have to go, and when I get them, and I might get them 2 or 3 times a year, but when I get them bad, I have to go get a needle stuck in my face to make it go away.
Gosh.
Right. So I said, you know what? I'm going to be on, normally I could deal with it, right? You just roll with it. And, I'm 56 years old. Who cares that much? But I'm on camera now, and I don't want to distract people with a big knot on my face. So I go to the dermatologist. I tell them what I want. They give me this medicine that works. And in order to take this medicine, I have to go see the doctor. Now, I've taken this medicine before. I already know that it doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. My blood test never went up. I'm in relatively good shape, if you understand what I'm saying. Right. So I go in, and I have to go in every month, and I got to give the doctor $80 for her to take a peek at me. That I'm telling you, Isaiah, the last time I was in there, I was in and out in under a minute. I have to give her $80 every month because the medicine lasts for 6 months. I have to give her $80. I don't know what the cost is, right? That's just the copay. I have to pay her $80, and then I have to do that every month for 6 months. Think about that. I've got for nothing. It's just a scam. It's just it's the same thing with the teeth that I was talking about. That's why we need a holistic dentist. I can't get my teeth clean unless I pay $4,000 to get my gums cleaned, and my gums are really clean, Isaiah. I'm talking about my sparkling clean.
But you gotta follow their system, their order of operations, right?
So it's just a scam. You can't get anything done. And even my in-laws, when we're talking about the teeth thing, I was telling the story, because my wife is, her mindset is it is what it is. If that's the way it is, that's the way it is. I'm like, honey, but it shouldn't be that way. Don't you have that sense of fairness? This is not fair. They're basically raping me out of $500 because I want to get some medicine that I already took and I already know it doesn't affect me in any way, shape, or form. It works out beautiful. Now I got to pay that, and I got to drive there. I got to drive it's an hour and a half out of my day just to get back and forth, plus the time that I sit in the lobby and everything else. And then I got to pay $80 for her to take a look at me and go, you look fine today. And then you go off about your business. It's incredible. And my in-laws, when I was telling the story about the teeth, my father-in-law, Gene, goes, exact same thing happened to us. We walked right out of there. And I looked at my wife. I said, see, I'm not crazy. I'm
That's
not
because
crazy.
they know what it used to be like before the monopolies came in.
Exactly. Isaiah, I'm sitting in the dentist chair. And I don't even know what's happening. I'm half asleep. I'm looking at my phone. I'm just waiting for them to get in and clean my teeth. I'm expecting a normal teeth cleaning because I signed up for a teeth cleaning at the dentist.
Staring in the bright lights.
Staring at the bright lights, waiting to get in there and start digging away at my teeth and the whole thing. And she comes in and she starts doing this, that, and the other. And then she takes a picture of my teeth and she puts it up on the screen. And what they do, in my opinion, is they take like this little yellow plaque that you have on the back of your teeth. That's why you're getting your teeth cleaned, by the way. She takes the plaque. She goes, look at the, you're going to, this is going to affect, you got to get your gums done, this, that, and the other. And she's telling me, I'm like, all right. I'm thinking I can make a decision on that later. And then she comes back with like this computerized pad that she wants me to sign. And I don't even recognize what I'm getting ready to sign. And I was going to sign it just thinking I'm getting my teeth clean and I got to sign this awful fast. And then I saw $4,000 or whatever number was, but I can't even remember what it was. And I looked at it and I go, wait a minute. I don't want my gums cleaned today. I don't have time for that. I just need my teeth cleaned. And she leaves. She comes back and she says, I just don't feel comfortable giving you a teeth cleaning without the gum cleaning. I said, well, I felt like saying, well, I don't really care if you're comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. So clean the teeth. I want my teeth cleaned, right?
That's not what I asked.
I had to walk out. This is the true story. So now I'm gargling hydrogen peroxide every morning and night because I want to keep my teeth clean. Because I can't get my teeth cleaned in Florida under my insurance. I have to get a holistic doctor to clean my teeth. It's just the most amazing thing in the world. I cannot stand what is happening to the American system. It caters to corporate interest. It fleeces the American citizen nonstop. They're just constantly in your pocket for something. And every time you call them on it, it's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. I'll get that song on too, Isaiah. That's a really good song. I try to give you one song.
Shelly says, I have BC/BS and a supplemental insurance through my husband's work and on Medicare and still have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
My wife, for the family and the insurance costs, I don't even know what it is. I know when I had my family of 5, Isaiah, it was $1,500 a month for insurance, and we never used it. $1,500 a month. Extrapolate. What is 1,500 times 12? You got a calculator in front of you?
So 1,200, 500 is 6,000. That's 18,000.
So say for 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you have 20 years. You're raising your children from birth, and you get them all. Well, I think you carry your kids on your insurance to what? 26. Let's just do this real fast. Let me find my
26 or 27, right?
I think it's 26.
You
have a calculator there?
Yep.
Let's do $1,500 a month insurance. You're raising a family. $1,500 a month for health insurance. That's not co-pays and anything else that you have to do. $1,500 times 12. How much is that?
The times 12 is 18,000, like we said.
18,000 times 26 years. That's how long your kids can stay on your insurance.
$468,000. So $500,000.
$500,000 to insure your family in America with the great technology and the great insurance companies and Obamacare and everything else. That's what I would have
spent $500,000 out of pocket for your children's health care, Rob?
And never used it. Kids don't get sick. My kids didn't get sick. $500,000 over the course of their lifetime under your insurance that you're paying to protect yourself from any kind of problem with your whatever. I don't know. Think about that, everybody. Just think about it. Just think about it for a second.
And simultaneously, you have these organizations that injure your heart, right? Or put stress on your heart. These organizations that do that, those are the ones that are donating and supporting the American Medical Association.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
And so it's like, what's going on?
Well, it's a con. It's just a con that people accept. It's the conditioning of a con. It's conditioning into a system that does not work for you, yet you have to be involved in it. And that's just the way it goes. $468,000 over 26 years is what I would, at $1,500 a month for insurance, you're raising 5 kids, a wife and a husband. I think it might've been more than that, to be honest with you, but let's just say 1,500 is a round number. You're at almost $500,000 in insurance as you raise your kids.
And Joe's making a good point here. We are paying for illegals insurance too.
Exactly.
Yes,
The whole thing is a scam.
Yeah.
It's not to your benefit, that's for sure. Let me get into Charlie because I don't want to get too far off.
You're getting all
Well,
worked up about it.
It does. It's one of those things where I can get into a
Seems
rant.
like it irritates a lot of people. Everyone's getting heated in the chat about it.
What's Elaine say? More control. By the way, Elaine, you are the best radio podcast listener in the world. She was on, she goes to Real Talk. She listens to us. Elaine, I don't know if you were listening this morning, if you were paying attention to the app. Did you see them attacking me? These two listeners were attacking me saying, Rob needs to know what's going on in China. I'm like, Rob needs to know what's going on in China. Rob did a podcast about it. Just got in an argument with Doug Billings, the Noon to 2 host, about the exact same topic. And they think that I'm the one that doesn't understand it.
My goodness. Can we say a quick prayer for Donna real quick?
Let's do it.
Lord, we just pray for Donna that you just heal her knee. We don't know what happened. Just sounds like she blew out her knee. She's off to the doctor. Just give her a quick healing in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen, Donna. I love Donna.
She's a loyal listener too. We got to pray for the loyal listeners.
I love our loyal listeners. It's humbling at times, is it not, Isaiah? When we talk about it, it's just a little bit humbling.
My gosh.
And it continues to grow. The numbers.
You remember the first time the person recognized me? I was like, "What the heck?"
Yeah. The numbers are starting to build again too. So it is the like and shares. Again, like, share, comment, subscribe. Please subscribe. The subscribers are tough, I think, because people think they have to pay for the subscriptions, maybe.
Yeah, so it's hard because the terms, we're talking about multiple platforms, right?
Yeah.
And the terms mean different things on the platforms. And so that's part of our challenge in communicating that. So you can, follow and subscribe are interchangeable words, basically, as we use them. So what we want you to do is just follow us on Rumble. We're not asking you to pay the $5 a month on Rumble to subscribe to their platform. You can, because some of the proceeds would go to our show, so we'd appreciate that. But if you just click that follow button there on Rumble, that's good enough for us. And then on YouTube, it's not follow. You click the subscribe button, but subscribing is just like following someone on YouTube. And so that's what we want. We just want you to do the free stuff, right? Just click that follow button on Facebook, the follow button on Rumble, the follow button on Instagram, and then on YouTube, they just call it subscribe. That's why it's confusing, because they have different meanings, right, for the same word, which is it can confuse people
depending on the platform.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna let's do this before I get into any advertising. Let's talk about the title of the show is The Business of Charlie Kirk, and I want to give you my take on what is happening with Charlie Kirk. It's what happens with everything in the United States of America.
Especially since people are saying that you've said all these things about it.
Right. I said that. What's the kid's name? Tyler Robinson. I said that he didn't. He wasn't the murderer. I have no idea what happened there. All I'm saying is the official story is ridiculous. That's all I'm saying. By the way, Charlie Kirk's representative for Charlie Kirk, the parents of Charlie Kirk, addressed the court yesterday and said they want nothing to be in secret. They do not want any controversy over what actually happens. And it sounded to me when I was listening to them that they are not buying the official story. That's the way I took it. I could be wrong, but they're like, they don't want any backroom deals because they don't want any controversy. They want the truth to come out no matter what it is. They want the truth out there, and they don't want backroom deals. And okay, we have this video, but we can't show that video to the public. And we have this one, blah, blah, blah. Right. That's what they were going at. So take that for what it is. I'm just saying that's what Charlie Kirk's parents' representative said as he addressed the court.
And you heard about how them and Erica weren't at really good, they were kind of at odds with each other a little bit right after the, they weren't completely at odds, but I think there was a little contention is what the rumors were.
Dissension amongst the troops. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Let's start with how this whole thing just plays out. Okay. Let me start with this. Somebody posted this either yesterday or the day before on X. It is now, got to remember, when I was doing the radio show, I would get off at noon Central Daylight Time in St. Louis. And as I got into my car, I'd talk to Dan for a little bit, hang out, and I jump into my car, and Charlie Kirk was on for a long time. So he was the show right after mine would be Charlie Kirk. And I would listen to him on the drive home, 30, 35 minutes to my dad's house, so forth. So I got to understand Charlie Kirk, but I listened to a lot of the interviews that he was doing. So some of these I actually remember. I never understood the appeal with Ben Shapiro pretty much ever, right? I did at the very beginning because I think he's a very bright person, but I never really understood the love affair with Ben Shapiro. He would go into these college campuses, and Charlie Kirk did it in a very, I thought, was fantastic. I really enjoyed the way Charlie Kirk communicated with people he disagreed with. Not so much with Ben Shapiro. He just rubs me the wrong way, and it's not because he's Jewish. I like, what's the guy's name? Dave Smith. I love him, and he's Jewish.
He's amazing.
It's a matter of personalities, okay? I just don't get into Ben Shapiro. I think he is one of these guys that thinks he's smarter than he is. I see him as a con artist and a charlatan. I think he sells ideas that he knows cannot possibly be true. I think he works as an asset for Israel. I don't think he cares anything about America. I don't think he cares about our citizens. I don't think he cares about anything other than what he is supposed to be doing for the state of Israel. That's who I think he is. That's Ben Shapiro. Okay, that's my take on Ben Shapiro. Here is the very last interview. This is the interview one day before the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And who's that guy that's on his show now? What's that guy's name? Do you know what I'm talking about, Isaiah?
Andrew Colvett.
Andrew Colvett. So Andrew Colvett also did an interview where he said that Charlie Kirk was upset with him for booking Ben Shapiro. Okay? So the day before Charlie Kirk is assassinated, which was on 9/10, he has an interview with Ben Shapiro. According to Andrew Colvett, he is the one that booked the interview with Ben Shapiro for Charlie Kirk. And according to Andrew Colvett, Charlie Kirk was not happy that he had booked this interview with Ben Shapiro. Okay, so that's the backdrop. That's the story as we understand it. Here are the 6 or 7 questions that Charlie Kirk asked Ben Shapiro the day before he was publicly assassinated. Clip number 5, Isaiah.
So we're on Team Civilization here. We want to see the maniacs of Hamas be defeated. So we've seen news this morning that quite honestly I'm a little confused by, and I was hoping you could navigate it and help us understand, which is that Israel bombed Qatar, which houses a lot of Hamas officials. What happened here? And if I were to introduce just the skeptical question, will this potentially endanger America's own interests in the Middle East? So please, Ben, help me better understand the situation.
Pause it, Isaiah, real fast.
I just spent time in Japan, and one of the things that kind of...
Okay, so very fast. So he's complaining, or at least asking the question, about bombing Qatar. Qatarlson, right? This is what Mark Levin calls Tucker Carlson because he believes that Tucker Carlson is being funded by Qatar. Donald Trump gets a plane, a presidential plane that had to be reconfigured so that he could fly in it from Qatar. And here's a conversation the day before the assassination between Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro, where Charlie Kirk is asking, Israel's bombing Qatar. How does this work out? Now, is Qatar a friend? Is it a foe? How do we know? What is going on? According to Mark Levin, who called Donald Trump the first Jewish president and puts his arm around him and spoons and loves on him like they should be getting a Polaroid picture taken together. He calls Tucker Carlson Qatarlson at the same time the president that he loves is getting a plane from Qatar. And Charlie Kirk is questioning why Israel was bombing Qatar. You figure that out. I don't even know what the answer is. I'm just saying this is the convoluted nature of society right now. Nobody can make head or tails of it. It's just whatever you want to believe because there is no objective truth in the society. That's what I believe. Continue on with Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro. This is the day before the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Check it out.
Looms over Japan is that Japan, they engaged in an unconditional surrender, that they said, we're done. And they laid down their arms, obviously, after the 2 atomic bombs. Very controversial. People have mixed opinions on it. I certainly do. But that it is unconditional surrender. Is that what Israel is aiming for here? I suppose that is a question that I get a lot on campus. What does success look like? Because I think we could all agree a long war is not good for Israel, a long, drawn-out war, and we're coming towards 2 years in about a month, so it's been about 23 months. So what does ultimate success look like in the Gaza Strip? What other feedback or criticism would you have about this situation? I know that it's impossible for anyone to listen to everything that you ever say, but looking at this from an American perspective, what else would you say things could have been handled differently? Maybe on the PR front, maybe also just on a conduct front. Where would you say, as an outsider, things that could have been handled better, more efficiently, or with more precision?
Number 4.
The claim I receive often, and we're starting our campus tour tomorrow, is that Israel is committing genocide. How do you respond to that, then?
Number 5.
Ben Shapiro, author of Lions and Scavengers. We're going to get to that in a second. I have 1 or 2 other questions on Israel. I think it's very important for our audience to hear this, though, because there is an incessant campaign. And one thing a friend sent to me, interestingly, which is, okay, Charlie, we push back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border, on so like maybe we should also ask a question: is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be, and how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing? We're running out of time here, but just last question on this, Ben. I know this might be a tougher question, but Bibi said, quote, I didn't like he said this, I'll be honest. You can't be MAGA if you're anti-Israel. I don't like it for a couple of reasons. How did you analyze that statement from Bibi?
And it is totally fine to say to people who wish to destroy our civilization, no, your values suck and they don't belong here.
Where does all this resentment come from?
There you go. Isaiah, does it sound to you like Charlie Kirk was questioning Israel right there?
Absolutely. The statement, the most clear statement he said there is, he's like, hey, Ben, Bibi Netanyahu said that you can't be MAGA unless and anti-Israel. That's what he said. You can't be MAGA and anti-Israel.
Now, can we give just a little bit of a context for everything?
Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing, I think.
Have we not been charged with that as well?
Oh, yes.
It's exactly what they say about us. And they
what does my hat say, Rob? Does it say Israel first?
See it on there. No, it says America first, I would assume, but I can't see it because it's all black. This is what Charlie Kirk was talking about. So to make the assumption that the story coming out about Charlie Kirk being assassinated by Tyler Robinson, a gay kid who was in an affair with a transgender, wrote this weird letter, climbed up on top of a roof, I guess with a screwdriver, and put this gun together, then jumped off the roof, went into the woods and undid the gun, or no, put the gun back together. No, that's right. So he goes on the roof, he puts the gun together on the roof. Then after he shoots him like a Superman, he takes the gun apart, jumps off the roof, goes into the woods, puts the gun back together to leave it where somebody can find it. Just happens to be land owned by Palantir. I mean, you can't make it up. You really can't. And then we're not supposed to ask any questions about that, which maybe they want the questions. Maybe they want the controversy. I'm fully aware of that position as well. But nonetheless, to have this back and forth, this is becoming the business of Charlie Kirk. Here's what you're going to soon be able to understand. You're never going to know what happened to Charlie Kirk. Never. You're only going to have your opinion of what happened to Charlie Kirk. But when the courts make their decision, and let's say that they believe that it's Tyler Robinson, the history books will tell you it was Tyler Robinson. That's the end of it. That's the end. You can talk about it from now to for another 100 years, but that will be the end. What our courts, which are corrupt as can possibly be, and the media, which are just as corrupt, and the political environment, which is completely corrupt, and the corporations, they're all corrupt. They're going to make the determination on how we view it through the lens of history. When in reality, you're going to have this divide. This becomes the business. This is where if you're going to make the argument that Candace Owens is a charlatan, this is how they do. This is how they do it. This is how they do it. What they do, I know that one. I got to bust it out one time. This is what they do. They create a scenario where it's emotional for you, especially if you're a fan of Charlie Kirk. It's emotional for you, and you have to take the side of what Ben Shapiro and Mark Levin and these people that absolutely think Israel must be protected at all costs, versus somebody like Candace Owens, Ian Carroll, Stu Peters. I could go on and on with the people that are Owen Schroyer. All of these people are out there now on the other side of it. It has become a business, and it gets people to pay attention to you because these are emotional issues that they can pick the scab on, and it becomes the business of Charlie Kirk. You're never going to know. So to waste your time on it is fine. Might be interesting to you. And you're like, hey, Rob, I'm an adult. I'm interested in this topic. I don't want to hear it all. I'll make my own decision. I really don't care what Fox News or CNN or what the newspapers or the history books tell me. I just want to hear it because I want to make my own decision. Okay, fine. But you're never going to really know. You're not. That's done and gone. That ship has sailed. Okay. So just remember, this is the business of Charlie Kirk, and everybody's going to make a business out of it by giving you just enough information to make you think that you're right. So if you're paying attention to the Kevin Slatons, if you're paying attention to my good friend Doug Billings, if you're paying attention to that side of the fence, they're going to give you all of the information, especially if you're watching Fox News. They're going to give you all of the information to make you think, open and shut case. How stupid can these conspiracy theories? Obviously, this is ridiculous. These people are nuts. They find conspiracy everywhere. And the bottom line is it's an open and shut case. And you know how I know? Because Donald Trump Jr. went on Fox News and told me how open and shut it is. Here is Donald Trump Jr. on Fox News because they love Fox. They hated Fox News. Now they love Fox News. Fox News that wouldn't fight against Dominion over the election scheme gave him $787 million because they didn't think they could put on a decent defense for $787 million. I thought, yeah, I don't know if we can put on it. Isaiah, how am I going to put on a proper defense with $787 million?
I need 788 at least.
$787 million to make a story go away that they was obviously true, in my opinion. But, say what you want to say. Here is Donald Trump Jr. on Fox News telling the audience that watches that nonsense that this is an open and shut case. He was in the trial. Here's the way he lays it out. Go ahead.
Listen to all the legal analysts who were in court as well, and they're suggesting the evidence is overwhelming. And how did the prosecution? It really is.
It really is.
Sound to you?
It's just so obvious.
Very strong, and the defense sounded very weak. The defense's only real tactic was seemingly to either stall or try to not admit essentially any evidence whatsoever, because I guess it would be too damning to their client. It was truly crazy. But you see the video. This is someone who lived 4.5 hours south, who importantly, and most people didn't know this, was not a student at Utah Valley University. He came up 4.5 hours away, very distinctly. I guess it was a Dodge Challenger in a car with very distinct rims. So they're able to identify the vehicle. They see him coming in early. He interacts with some Turning Point people, apparently asking them, what was happening here? Who were the speakers? What was the timing? Whatever that may have been, it seems. He then leaves, but he's wearing shorts and a T-shirt. He comes back wearing long pants with a limp that magically somehow developed. Is seen on video going up to this rooftop, which was the perfect vantage point to make, this shot. Then jumps off the building carrying a long object that looked like the shape of a gun, according to one of the witnesses, wrapped up in something. And there was a screwdriver left, which to me, leads me to believe that he walked up there with a limp and had disassembled the gun, put both the stock and the barreled action I guess down his pants, walked up there, put the gun together. That takes 30 seconds. Made his shot. They saw evidence of the indents of where, there would have been a sniper's hide, the indents from his knees and elbows where he would have lain prone to make this shot. The shot happens, and within seconds, he's seen the limp has disappeared, and he's seen, jumping off the building and running into the nearby woods. Then there's ring cam footage of him pulling up again in this very distinct car.
This is fodder for idiots.
Okay.
I gotta. Have you seen the video that animates the story timeline as they tell us?
You have that?
This? Oh yeah.
Play that for people.
This is the animation of the timeline that he just explained to us. So I think it helps us out see the absurdities in what he just said.
While conspiracy theorists insist no 30-06 could possibly behave this way, the round blasted into Charlie Kirk's neck, crushed his vertebra, and ricocheted downward toward his heart, only to be stopped dead by his legendary Superman neck of super-dense steel-like bone. It created no exit wound and lodged harmlessly just beneath the skin, which experts hailed as a miracle that saved the bystanders standing behind him. Up on the rooftop, Tyler Robinson didn't just break down his rifle. He shredded it apart in a ridiculous hyperspeed blur using nothing but his bare hands. Then he sprinted across the roof and launched himself off the edge with expert parkour precision. Tyler made the conscious expert decision to reassemble his rifle one last time and place it under a tree in a bush. He then changed back into his blue jeans and maroon t-shirt in hyperspeed. Time for ice cream. While conspiracy theorists insist no 30-06 could possibly behave this way.
Oh, man.
Now, if you don't buy that story, then you just don't understand what's going on, Rob.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's not the story that you get on Fox News. They tell you all these little pieces of it, but what they don't do is explain the rationale of how this worked from a time frame standpoint or from a security standpoint. You think Bill Hemmer is the dopiest person on all of television, Bill Hemmer, that was interviewing him right there? He's like Megyn Kelly when Megyn Kelly wouldn't ask Donald Trump. Well, if Donald Trump didn't give a Medal of Commendation to Darth Fauci, she couldn't come up with, as a journalist, as a world-renowned journalist who's been on Fox News, prime time, very attractive lady, Megyn Kelly. She couldn't come up with the next question. Well, wait a minute, it came from your office. Who would have given it? Who would have signed off on Darth Fauci getting a Medal of Commendation on White House?
Was it AutoPen?
On the White House website? Who would have done that? Aren't you upset that somebody did that in your name? Didn't even seem to ask that question. Bill Hemmer didn't think to ask, it's kind of odd, don't you think, that nobody was manning the rooftops? I mean, Charlie Kirk openly talked about on his podcast that there were death threats against him. You don't think it's kind of odd that he would be in a situation like that, and the millions of dollars that he spends on security didn't think, we should probably take a look at the rooftops? Can we put at least one person on the rooftops just to make sure that the highest vantage point that could take a shot at Charlie Kirk is being covered? That just didn't go to the top floor, Isaiah. They could not figure that out. Okay, now let's go to this guy. I think his name's Jeremy Boring. Do you know what it is, Isaiah?
Yeah, Boring, I think is how you
Jeremy
say it.
Boring. Now listen to this.
He's pretty boring, so it matches.
So check this guy out. So the commentary underneath is so fantastic because this guy is wearing a Gucci jacket, total knob. All right, so he's wearing this Gucci jacket, and he's explaining how insane Candace Owens is and how brilliant and perfect his side of the story is. Here is Jeremy Boring. I guess was involved with TPUSA back in the day. I guess. Yep. I just don't know who this person is. But
him and his dog always in these videos together.
I don't even know what you're talking about. But here he is, clip number 3. Jeremy Boring, and get ready to pause this, Isaiah, because I find this the richest and the best explanation of what's going on. You talk about some charlatans. Check it out.
Is staggering.
Look at this guy.
But she isn't slaying the demons, she's carrying them. And she's applauded for it by a gullible and spiritually broken audience every single day.
I love that.
Just today, she tried to spin a whole new conspiracy.
Oh my gosh. Sorry, I have to. It's so scripted.
Oh, he's reading it, of course.
He's reading. It's. Oh my gosh.
He looks like a 70s porn star with his Gucci jacket opened up with the gold necklace hanging down over his t-shirt. It's just unbelievable.
I'm one of you. I'm just a normal guy.
I'm just a normal guy like you with a $7,000 jacket on. You know what I'm saying? With my hundreds of millions of dollars I get from TPUSA. Why would I ever say anything that wasn't true? I mean, what motive would I have?
None at all, Rob. Sorry. You see his dog there now?
Yeah, can you start it over for me just a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I heard the first 30 seconds. I was like, he's reading a script. This is ridiculous.
I love when he calls them the broken souls. I just think that's funny. Try it one more time. This guy.
But she isn't slaying the demons, she's carrying them. And she's applauded for it by a gullible and spiritually broken audience every single day. Just today, she tried to spin a whole new conspiracy, this one about Ben Shapiro. Ben mentioned that his security team was in touch with Charlie's security team almost immediately after the shooting. Candace framed this as, quote, Ben confesses. Just one little problem. Candace and Ben had the same security firm working for them at the time. Ben's only security firm, by the way. He doesn't have some special secret IDF security firm also working for him. He only has the one. And it also represented Candace Owens at the time. Interestingly, I was having lunch with the founders of that security firm at the very moment that Charlie was shot. Yes, they did find out right away. Yes, they were in touch with the members of TPUSA's security team right away. Yes, they consulted with their own team right away to ensure that their clients, which included Candace and Ben, were also safe. That's called being good at your job. And these guys are very good at their job.
I want you to think
about
that.
So I guess if that implies that Ben is guilty.
This guy, think of the cojones to say this. Just think about it for a second. The guy that you are being paid to protect had his head blown off in front of an audience all over the internet. And this guy thinks that the security apparatus that Charlie Kirk was paying for to protect him is really good at their job. Can you imagine? Seriously, I'm just think about that for a second. The firm that this imbecile, should I say imbecile? It's not very Christian-like. This moron is moron more appropriate. I don't know what the appropriate word is. Charlatan, con artist.
Yeah.
It just bothers me so greatly. But just think about it for a second. This guy is trying to a scripted. You can tell he's reading it. Scripted context. Gucci $7,000 track jacket with a T-shirt on and a gold necklace hanging on the top of it as he's leaning back on his sofa like a 70s porn star. And he's going to explain to the broken souls and morons that listen to Candace Owens that the security team was so great at their job that they just left one thing open, the rooftops. They just made one little mistake, and Charlie Kirk had his life taken from him. And according to this person, they're fantastic at their job. Think about that, Isaiah. Just think of how insane you have to be to buy into anything these people are saying. And that's why I said it's just a back and forth. It's the business of Charlie Kirk. People are going to make a lot of money on it because it was a traumatic experience. People that love Charlie Kirk. I saw Ryan Hagedorn. He's running for office here in Missouri. He posted our interview. I watched the interview again. He's really good. I like this. He loves Charlie
really
Kirk.
good.
He's on the same page with us on the things that we believe. But I look at those kind of conversations and I think, man, this business it's a never ending business. I was listening to Candace Owens a little bit last night. I checked into her show to see what she was talking about. And I do understand why people find it a little bit crazy because she has some good things that she talks about. And then she gets off into these wild things.
Oh yeah. She gets off into so crazy stuff. Like,
I can see why people would think it's crazy. Cause if you get just those clips of her, you could certainly understand why people go, what in the world is going on around here? Right. I get that part of it. Yeah. I'm simply saying, can both of them be bad? Can the Democrats and Republicans be bad? Can Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro both be bad? Is it possible that both are bad and one isn't good and wasn't it terrible? Is it possible? I think it's possible. I think it's not only possible, I think it's a fact. Wait a minute, Isaiah.
That's a fact, Jack.
That's a fact, Jack. That's a fact, Jack.
All right.
So let me get this straight. Their security team is so good, that's why they can't get any more jobs, right?
Their security team is so good that the one guy they had to protect had his head blown off in public.
And they can't get any more jobs because they're so good at their job.
They're so good at their job. Not one person on the highly paid security team thought, let me think here. Charlie's going to be at UVA. He has tons of death threats, according to Charlie Kirk, because he said that on his podcast. He has tons of death threats against him. The president of the United States, who Charlie Kirk is aligned with, just had an assassination attempt on his life when somebody climbed up onto the top of a shed and took dead aim at him. Now I'm thinking about this and I'm going to secure Charlie Kirk at this campus event. And I go, you know what? Don't mess with the rooftops. It's easy to get to them, right? As DJT just said there, Donald Trump Jr., right? He just said they're easy to get into. All you do is climb the steps and walk on. As his security team, let's just leave them wide open. No drones. We don't want any drones. We don't want to have any kind of crowd control from above. We don't want to put any security on top of the buildings. We don't.
You know what it reminds me of, Rob? It reminds me of that White House Correspondents' Dinner where the hotel staff are the ones who are just opening the doors to anyone and not checking tickets.
And that came from two Fox News hosts that got caught on a hot mic telling us.
Yeah, it's like eerily similar. You know what I mean?
If you didn't know better, you would think that all of these things are relatively designed to happen, and that is why there's not a lot of fear. Wouldn't you think that the security at the Donald Trump event, when he was doing that event with this most recent one where they run into the hotel and they're trying to run through security, wouldn't you think security might be on just a little bit of a high alert? He's had 2 attempts on his life, according to the news. He's had 2 attempts on his life. Don't you think he'd kind of shore up security just a little bit, Isaiah?
Maybe that Fox News reporter must have just been some, genius intelligence analyst, right?
The genius, I think it was Jimmy Fiala. Or what's his name? The comedian? What's his name? Jimmy Fiala?
I remember.
Whatever it was. He's the one that he said, you see this over here? And they got the staff opening the doors. And he's got on a hot mic making fun of the security at the Donald Trump event where somebody just got shot recently, whatever the event that was, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I guess.
Yep.
It is incredible. Now let's go to Ian Carroll, because Ian Carroll will, it's the same thing. Will you text Amanda and tell her she's not on it for another hour? I see her pop into the screen.
She can hear us. Yeah, she can hear us.
You're on at 11 Central Daylight Time, as I understand it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think she's thinking Eastern Time. So we got 1 hour before we bring you on because we had a guest prior. But I want to play Ian Carroll. Ian Carroll, if you don't know who he is, he's an internet sensation. He digs into stories and then he tries to connect conspiracies together, this kind of thing. I think he's really good at what he does.
I thought he stopped for a while. I didn't even know
he went away.
Yeah.
He kind of went away a little bit. But here he is. This is Ian Carroll. Now, how many people knew this going into the trial? I find this little nugget of information to be very interesting. Check it out. This is Ian Carroll, clip number 7.
So a bullet found on another building?
I believe an unfired bullet had been found on another building at some point during my time there on September 10th. Yeah.
So, whoa, dude.
Okay,
hold up.
Start cussing.
There was an
So he starts to go on about how ridiculous it is that nobody knew that there was a bullet found on another rooftop that you've never heard about until this guy testified to it. All of the information about what happened to Charlie Kirk, nobody thought it was legitimate information that a bullet was found on another rooftop on a college campus that doesn't allow guns. And not one news report about it. Nobody knew anything about it. And Ian Carroll goes, how can that possibly be? How can this information be withheld from everybody? And that is why I believe that a representative for Charlie Kirk's family went before the court yesterday and said, we want everything that you guys have out in the public. This is what the Kirk family recommends. Every single thing that you have, no backroom nonsense. Have you seen these videos, by the way? The video that they show of the guy going up the stairs doesn't look anything, to me, doesn't even look anything like Tyler Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
Their faces, it's a different face. I mean, they're white. I mean, that's about it. They're white, but it doesn't look anything like them to me. And yet this is supposed proof that it was Tyler Robinson who did it. I don't know what to make of it, but he doesn't look like Tyler Robinson. That does not look like Tyler Robinson.
It is pretty convenient that somehow he's able, even though he doesn't know where any of these cameras are, right? Somehow he's able to mask his face just enough the entire time to where you can't clearly get a picture of him, right?
Correct.
That's, I know I can be a conspiracy theorist, right? But that's just kind of crazy to me.
If only there were flock cameras, Isaiah.
There are. That's what I just saw this morning. Someone said, put in the zip code for Utah Valley University, and it's just flooded with flock cameras.
Did you see the, were you the one that sent me something on the flock cameras the other day and how many they've
Since
put up?
2024? Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Is that not crazy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we should play that sometime when we're talking about surveillance state.
The surveillance state is real. All right, let's get to some advertising real fast. People's Lobby Mode. I got the shirt on. Isaiah, love these shirts.
There we go. I need to get one of those.
My man Travis put these together for us, and I actually like these shirts. His brother-in-law did the t-shirts for us. I love the quality of these things. They're absolutely fantastic. We're sold out. I'm not trying to sell you any. We're sold out of them. peopleslobbymo.com. peopleslobbymo.com. Let me tell you why People's Lobby Mo is something you should sign up for right now. Don't wait. peopleslobbymo.com. If you're listening to this show, you have to recognize we want to make change. We're not we're not people that thinks that believe the system is on cruise control and everything's going to be fine. We believe that you must get involved in your government at it. You don't have to spend 10 hours a day. You could spend a half an hour a day, an hour a day, start to understand what is happening in the state of Missouri and around the country. And once you see it, if you care about anything at all, it will drive you crazy. The amount of corruption, the misleading information that you get, the way the corporations control our government, the way you get robbed out of your tax money, the way your kids get indoctrinated, the way the elections are run, the way the insurance companies run, the way it all works, it will make you nuts. You'll just think we can put a better system together. If you believe that, you have to pressure the system that we're in now, because the people that are in charge of the system now, well, they like it the way it is. They don't want to change it. They love 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 it. And you don't love it. It's not working for you. So all we're saying is, if you want to pressure that system until it breaks and bends back toward a constitutional republic, which it is no longer, you do not live in a constitutional republic. I don't care how many times you say it, think it, no matter what you believe, it is an absolute fact. You no longer live in a constitutional republic. And you tell that just by the finances. If the federal government is paying half of the budget for the states, then the federal government is like your drug dealer and you owe him money. You're going to do what the drug dealer wants until you pay him off. And we can't pay him off because there's no way to pay off a $25 billion debt when it was only $26 billion budget in Missouri 7 years ago. It ain't happening. Okay.
No.
So now you're beholden to what the federal government wants, whether you like it or not. That's just the way the system is rolling. And that means you do not have state sovereignty anymore, period. You have a federal intrusion into the state governments. And if you want to change that, you go to peopleslobbymo.com. Let the ants organize. For once in your life, do something great. Be a part of something that actually changes the future for your kids and your grandkids. Sign up for peopleslobbymo.com. We love, love, love donations, but that is not the most important thing for me. The most important thing is that you get the information, you weigh the information, and when we want to rally, when we want to protest, when we want to get information out, when we want to call senators, when we want to call congresspeople, when we want to put television commercials together, you know what's going down, and you're going to be an advocate for what we're doing. peopleslobbymo.com. Then let's move into my good friends Mitch and Brian at rocketcareers.com. I think Mitch is listening. I think I saw him in the app today.
Mm-hmm. Tanner, you said it again.
Did I?
You just said it.
He's working now. He can't be listening now. I apologize. We got to get Mike Compton's thing up too. So if you can find Mike Compton's, I want to make sure that we
got it ready to rock
every day. Before we even get into Rocket, can we do it? Show the book,
sure.
Or is it the commercial that you have there?
Yeah. Give me a second to get it up here.
Because I want to make sure that Michael Compton, he just wrote a book, Keeping the Republic. A Citizen's Guide to Hold On to This Country for Another 250 Years. There it is right there, because there's a lot of books on Amazon called Keeping the Republic. So you have to see it. That's the one. Michael Compton is a terrific analyst of information. When he decided he was going to pay attention to Missouri government, watch the House reps in action, watch the senators in action, watch the lobbyists in action, watch the governor in action, and watch the media in action, he said, whoa, hang on here just a minute. We got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Jefferson City, we have a problem. So he wrote a book called Keeping the Republic, and everybody should have that book. And you know who should have that book more than anybody, Isaiah? If you have a teenage child and you care about your country, let's say that you have military members in your country or in your family, maybe an uncle, maybe a father, maybe your son's in the military. If you are sending your children, or if you have family members that went to fight for this country and they have no understanding of how to keep a republic, maybe you should buy this book for them, and maybe it should be required reading. Remember what I said before? The reason I want to address the Missouri government, when they start making laws that say I cannot do business with the state of Missouri if I don't sign an affidavit of my loyalty to the state of Israel, then I have a problem. And the problem I have is at some point we're going to move back to Missouri. And when I move back to Missouri, the number one agenda item for me is to re-educate our children around what it means to be a free citizen, because we don't do that anymore. In fact, the education system is to take you out of being a conscientious citizen. It's the whole point. It's an indoctrination. It's an indoctrination away from your power over your government into a system that you have no control over. That is what our education system is about nowadays. Buy the book.
I got the ad ready.
Keeping the Republic. Knock it out.
You can keep it. Keeping the Republic, A Citizen's Guide to the Next 250 Years. Available now on Amazon.
And it should be in every school. Every school in Missouri should buy this book for their classes. If you're a parent and you have a child that is under the age of, let's say, 21 years old, let's say they're college age or under, they should have that book. This is the problem I had, Isaiah, is I didn't have any idea what it meant to be a good citizen my entire life. I didn't figure it out until COVID happened. I started looking into the way politics works. I'm like, yeah, what a moron I was. I wasn't even participating in my government. I thought it was on cruise control. It's not on cruise control. If it's on cruise control, it's aimed off a cliff. Put it to you that way. Keeping the Republic, Michael Compton. There's a picture of it. Get to Amazon. Get that book. I think we're going to buy some signed copies from Michael Compton. Maybe we'll sell them on People's Lobby Missouri at some of our events. But this is how you do it right there. All right. Now let's get to Rocket Careers. RocketCareers.com. RocketCareers.com. This is my good friend, Mitch. There he is. There he is. Mitch Freeze, he calls himself. It's my good friend, Mitch. My other good friend, Brian. This is a nationwide business. If you are a small to medium size operation and human resources either doesn't get the job done or you just cannot afford a human resources department, yet you can't get good work. You can't find people that do the proper kind of business for you or with you. You have to get good candidates into your business. How do you do it? You lean on rocketcareers.com. They have a network from coast to coast, talent recruiting, outplacement services. They do the work of human resources, and they get better people before you because they have a network they've been cultivating for years and years and years, and they are the finest people you will ever meet. I cannot recommend enough for small to medium-sized businesses to get involved with rocketcareers.com. Give them a call, see what they have to say. You make your own decisions. I'm just telling you, these are great people who actually care about doing a good job. Number two, if you're out of work, if you hate your job, if you can't take it another day, if you're in a little cubicle right now, or you're doing something, maybe you're in construction and you're 55, 60 years old, and you're like, my body's going to break down. I can't do this anymore. I can't get up and work this hard anymore. I'm going to fall apart. Call rocketcareers.com, figure out what you want to do in the next stage of your life, and they will help you launch a new career. Rocketcareers.com, 636-778-2419, 636-778-2419, Rocket, ROCKIT careers.com.
How about Tanner's listening?
No, they're messing with me. My son likes to mess with me more than you do, Isaiah. You guys are going to get along good. You know who he's working for?
Who?
I don't even know if he would want me to say, but I just got to tell the story. He just found out today that he didn't know who the Carnahan family was in Missouri. He's working for the Carnahan family.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't even know it. Isn't that funny?
That's funny.
RackCustomCoatings.com. This is our good friend Rich McQuay. Again, if you are somebody who makes decision on industrial spaces, industrial space flooring, if you make the determination on flooring for schools or any kind of big operation, you've got to check out rackcustomcoatings.com. It is it's not as expensive as tile or wood, yet it looks absolutely fantastic. I have a first-hand witness to the beauty of this, I guess it's called epoxy. When it's done properly, which it was in my garage, boy, did it change the way my home looked. I just got to tell you, open your garage, you see that nice clean floor. If you have a man cave and you haven't thought about this, if you change the way your floor looks in your garage and you're out there watching your football game with your buddies, they're going to notice. Great curb appeal, great business. Rich McQuay, locally owned, family owned since 2001. Rack customcoatings.com, RAK customcoatings.com. 636-398-5040, 636-398-5040, rack, RAK customcoatings.com. How about Grace Hauling?
Oh yeah.
GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com. All things rubbish, all things trash. Gary Schneider is the man. The reason you see those trucks all over St. Charles County is because people love doing business with Gary Schneider. That is a fact, Jack.
That's the fact, Jack. That's a fact, Jack.
Commercial businesses, they have 2, 4, 6, and 8-yard dumpsters. Business been around since 1998, and they pride themselves on customer service and competitive pricing. GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com. If you are a residential customer, you're just moving into a house and you need a trash service, it's always GraceHauling.com for trash, recyclables, yard waste, and bulk pickups. Bulk pickups are the one I always remember because at some point you're moving and you got a washer and dryer, you got an old freezer in your garage. Like, how am I going to get rid of this thing? What am I going to do with it? You call GraceHauling.com. That's how you do it. GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com. All right, back to the show. How am I doing with these live reads? I want to get jingles and commercials. We got to expand the operation for these people because I got to say, the advertisers that stuck with me and the advertisers that came on board after I left the radio station, you do not know how much I appreciate it. Isaiah, would you agree with that?
Oh yeah.
Changed my whole life. It gave me the opportunity to do what I want to do. Gave us the opportunity to grow this thing the way we intend to grow it. And you're seeing the very beginning stages. We're 59 episodes in. Can you imagine what this thing is going to look like 500 episodes in? Can you imagine what this thing's going to look like 2 years from now? We're starting to go to DC. We're going to make connections in DC. We're going to have, it'll be a completely different operation over time. You're seeing the very beginning stages of something that we hope changes the world, which is independent journalism.
I'm really excited for the session to be back in, for the Missouri legislation to be back in session in January, because that's going to be,
I want to get there all the time. I know we got to get there before the midterms.
Yeah. Very, very true.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about Iran for a bit. Actually, I want to do this first, Isaiah, because I might lose track of this. I want to get this done. Yeah. I saw this video. It's clip number 1. It's just some guy out and I want to check these out. I always like to say, okay, I hear this, and then you and I can check it out on the screen together because I have not checked it out. I want to find out if it's total BS or if it's real. But it's clip
5D chess or 5D BS?
No, this is clip number, kind of. Yeah, kind of. Clip number 1. So this guy goes out and says that ZIM, I believe it is, shipping, had been in the World Trade Centers for 30 years. They pulled out right before 9/11, 2001. And this guy claims that it was owned by Israeli interests, number 1. And then who was behind the original funding for ZIM shipping was the Rothschild family. Here's what he put out onto social media. It caught some traction, caught my eye. And now we're going to do a little research to see if this guy's telling the truth. I have not done any research on it yet. We're going to do it together. I want to show you how we work it. All right. So you get a little tip. Some guy says, do you hear about ZIM shipping on X? This is the guy. And then we'll do the study. Check it out.
9/11, the ZIM shipping company broke its lease and moved out of the World Trade Centers after 30 years. At the time, 49% of ZIM shipping was owned by the Israeli government, and the other 51% was owned by the Israel Corporation. And who was an early investor and former chairman of the Israel Corporation? Baron Edmund de Rothschild.
All right. Isaiah,
I love how he did that video. That's great.
So let's take a look at it. ZIM, can you look it up on one of your AI?
Oh, yeah. Got it running right now.
ZIM. It could be ZIMM. He just said ZIM. He didn't spell it for me, but I'm thinking it's ZIM shipping. World Trade Center. Maybe we put something into Grok or something into Claude. What do you have over there? What kind of AI?
I got Grok running right now. I asked it. I said ZIM shipping. Just quick shorthand. I said ZIM shipping owned by Israeli interest ? And it was Rothschild behind funding ? So it's doing okay. Here we go. All right, that was fast.
What's it tell me?
Oh, it's spitting out all kinds of stuff here.
You're putting it up on screen. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Yes, Zim Integrated Shipping Services is an Israeli shipping company with deep and ongoing ties to Israeli interests. No credible evidence shows the Rothschild family funding its founding or controls it.
Okay.
Zim was established on June 7, 1945 in Haifa as the Zim Palestine Navigation Company by core Zionist institutions. This is probably where the funding from the Rothschilds comes from. Is the Jewish agency, Histadrut, General Federation of Laborers, and the Israel/Palestine Maritime League.
Maritime.
Explicit purpose was to create a Jewish-Israeli merchant fleet for maritime independence, immigrant transport, especially post-Holocaust refugees, and trade, reducing reliance on foreign shipping.
So it's a political organization, right? Israeli political organization that deals in immigration. And did they leave the World Trade Center before 9/11? Does it say anything about
let's
breaking their lease?
Let's see here.
This is where the skepticism comes from sometimes when people say, what are you talking about with Israel? Israel's our greatest ally. We're like, well, wait a minute, just dig in a little bit and maybe your mind will be changed.
Yeah,
maybe when they slaughtered 34 American sailors on June 8th, 1967, and they did it on purpose, according to the eyewitnesses, not according to Ben Shapiro, who wasn't even born yet, but the people that were born and were on the ship and watched what happened, they're all saying it was intentional because they watched it with their own eyes. But don't believe your lying eyes. You believe Ben Shapiro, because Ben Shapiro may not be the smartest guy in the world, but at least he knew that if you didn't take your COVID vaccines, you were a dope. At least he knew that. I mean, good Lord. I mean, he is, he's Ben Shapiro, for God's sakes.
Come on. It's Ben Shapiro.
He's awesome. Everybody loves Ben.
Yeah, it's just still working about the 9/11, so it's still.
Let's do this, Ben.
No, okay. It said Zim Shipping did not suspiciously leave the World Trade Center before 9/11 in a way. Now, we got to research this because it's told me stuff like this before. So let me see. Okay. Grok is so funny.
Well, they don't want you to know things, but if you
don't want you to know it.
If you dig it, it's right. It's just the computer operation, so you can get to the. I've done it 1,000 times, Isaiah, where I'm like, I know this happened. What are you talking about? And then it says it didn't. Then you start asking the question. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and then it gives you the answer.
So it's saying that it's not in a way that it had foreknowledge or involvement. No, the relocation was publicly announced before, so it's okay. That's why.
So they announced a relocation before 9/11. Therefore, they had no prior knowledge that 9/11 happened. Can you imagine making that statement? And this is the artificial intelligence that they want to build with AI data centers, because if you didn't get to hear Rick Babbitt's when he was on last Tuesday, he said he thinks it's all just one big AI scam. They're trying to convince you that AI has all the answers to everything. It's going to be this computing, it's going to change everything in the world. It's going to give all these great things to humanity. And he said, I just think it's all a bunch of BS. I think what they're really trying to do, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but ultimately is make a bunch of money on the technology, build all of these AI data centers, it becomes a money pool, and it's really not going to be able to do the things they say it's going to do, but they are going to raise a lot of money by convincing you that it's going to cure cancer. We're going to take a half-an-hour plane rides to Mars and everything else, right? That's what they're selling you with AI, and he says that's just doesn't seem to be the case if you look into the finances of it all. Anyway.
April 2001, it says right there is the date that they publicly announced it.
So April, May, June, July, August, September. So 5 months.
Big heads up.
5 months before the World Trade Centers fall to the ground, an Israeli company was in the World Trade Center, broke their lease, and left 5 months before the World Trade Centers come down. And if you question that, Isaiah, then clearly you hate Jews.
And the move was completed roughly 2 weeks before September 11th, it says.
You don't say. Huh. Kind of unbelievable. It's kind of like Charlie Kirk, right?
Yeah, it's just like, what's his name? Larry Silverstein. Is that the guy who owned the
Larry
building?
Silverstein didn't go to work that day. Howard Lutnick didn't go to work that day. Boy, just a lot of really good fortune with these people. You must admit.
Man.
You got to admit, they really, really got. Maybe they are the chosen people because they are very lucky. Would you agree? I mean, you can't get much luckier than that. You got Howard Lutnick, who didn't go to work that day in the World Trade Centers. Boy, what a great deal that is. And then he got like $1 bazillion in insurance money because of Cantor Fitzgerald, which he was running at the time. Then you got Larry Silverstein, who never misses a day of work in his entire life, but he misses it on that particular day. And then you have a Jewish organization that had their headquarters in the World Trade Centers, who pulls out 2 weeks before the 9/11 And you're supposed to go, well, what's the big deal, Rob? What are you trying to say? Do you see a pattern of any sort? I don't understand what kind of pattern you're looking at there.
You're seeing things that aren't there, Rob. Come on.
Can't prove it, so it's not true. That's the way
Yeah.
it works. If you can't prove it, it's not true. All the evidence you must ignore. Okay, so I think that's just another little fact that I had no idea about, a little interesting, right? And you find these things on social media, just these little nuggets. And if you just follow up on them and find out whether they're true or not, all of a sudden it starts to
I honestly thought when I saw that in the email that it was about the Zen shipping. Do you know what happened to Tucker Carlson?
No.
Like he owns Alp, which is like Zen, which is like a nicotine pouch company.
Yeah, I do know that. Yeah.
So Alp had apparently one of their shipping containers was seized and no one knows where it is. It's gone and he's like, I don't know how they just don't know where my stuff is. This is kind of crazy.
Really?
And,
So sabotage is what he said.
Yeah.
Do you ever take those nicotine pouch things?
No, I don't take the nicotine pouches. I do the nootropics. That's the ones that I said you should try that I gave you when we were in DC dying.
Yeah. Made my stomach.
Oh, hey, this got some caffeine in them. Take them.
It makes my stomach hurt a little bit. Ryan Haidt.
Yes. Just like coffee, kind of very similar in the.
Yeah, but I don't know. Ryan Haidt gave them to me. And he said, you should check these out. They come in 3, 6, and 9 strength, I guess he said. And I said, which one do you have? And I think he said it's the middle one, the 6, if I'm not mistaken. He gave it to me. And at first I liked it. I liked the taste of it. You put it between your cheek and gums, and it's just a little pouch with whatever's in it. And then I took them for like 3 or 4 days, and I started noticing my stomach kept getting upset when I was on the air. I'm like, not like upset, like a rumble guts, but you just felt like a little, I don't even know what it was. I'm like, I don't like that feeling. I'm out.
Yeah. That's the nicotine.
Tucker Carlson pushes them hard.
Yes. Yeah. There's a lot of medical stuff. There's a lady that I worked with, and she's like, Isaiah, I worked with at a church, right? And she couldn't believe it. She's like, the doctor's prescribing my husband nicotine. And she couldn't believe it because his blood, I guess his the pressure of his blood or something, how his flowing was not fast enough, and the nicotine will increase your blood flow.
Yeah.
And so they prescribed him nicotine patches to wear to increase his blood flow in his body.
My buddy said the same thing about the erectile dysfunction pills.
Yep. That's what Tucker says.
Yeah, he said his doctor told him to take them, and I said, come on, dude, just teasing him a little bit. He goes, no. He goes, my doctor told me to take them because it increases the blood flow, and I have blood flow problems, so he told me to take these things. Like, I guess it does make sense, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's get into Iran. I want to pivot here for just a minute, and then we're going to bring in Gary Wiegert at 10:30. So we got about 12 minutes. I see Gary's in the queue. He's ready to rock and roll. He's in our green room, if you will, our virtual green room.
Yes.
He's ready to come on in 12 minutes. We're going to talk to Gary Wiegert.
He's eating snacks. He's having drinks,
I like Gary. I don't know him that well, but I've had a couple conversations with him, and I like him. He's going to talk about his race. Again, if you're into Missouri politics, these races are important because you're going to get to see the different versions of what is going on with these amendments, because you're going to get some people who are all for them, and you're going to get people go, wait a minute, hang on here just a minute. I don't even know where Gary's at. I'm curious to see where he's at on these particular amendments 3, 4, and 5, and just about his race. He's going up against a guy named Niles. I think it's Stevens. Do you know who that is? Niles Stevens?
Yeah, I've seen him. I don't know him, but I know about him.
Seems like a nice guy. I just watch some of these people. If you're in Missouri, and you're in the political world, you see all the same, people are behind certain topics and behind certain issues. He seems to be very much in line with freedom principle and the establishment. I wouldn't even say establishment, the leadership of the Republican Party. Would you agree with that, Isaiah? That's kind of where I see Niles falling in. So if you want another, and Niles, I don't mean to be mean, but if you're somebody who wants the Republican Party to strengthen doing business the way they're doing it now, I think Niles Stevens would be your guy. I'd be curious to see if Gary Wiegert sees it from a different angle. All right, let's talk about Iran for just a minute. I have said from day one, I think Iran is ridiculous. I don't think that you send, I just don't think you should be bombing societies on the premise that you're going to bomb them because they were going to bomb you. Let's just, can we do the ABCs? Let me get my ABCs out here real fast, Isaiah. Where is it?
Wait, so you're saying if they may bomb us, just perhaps one day, we shouldn't bomb them?
Yeah, let's use the logic, okay? So you have, let's say in 2012 and 2013, we're just going to run the logic game. Okay, this is where you and I would be called conspiracy theorists. In the year 2012 and 2013, the Barack Obama administration, along with complicit Republicans, it was the Republicans passed it. It was under Barack Obama as president, but the Republicans passed it. So both parties were involved. They overturned the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. Now, if you go back and you study the they turned over the Smith-Mundt Act. If you go back and look at the Smith-Mundt Act, the reason it was passed was American legislators recognized what happened to the German people as they were being propagandized. As Germany was spreading war all over Europe, their citizens didn't really understand what was happening because at the time, the Nazi Party took over the newspapers and they gave news reels at the movies. So before you went to the movie, you'd get a 15 minutes of news on the big screen, and it was being controlled by the Nazi Party. So the citizens of Germany thought that they were the ones being attacked. They didn't recognize they were the aggressors. So when we won World War II, the legislators passed the Smith-Mundt Act because they did not want propaganda aimed at their own citizens. If we want to trick people overseas because we have some motive overseas, well, then we'll, create information, disinformation, misinformation, what have you, overseas. But the Smith-Mundt Act kept it from happening to American citizens in our boundaries. Okay, is that understandable, Isaiah, so far?
Yep.
In 2012, 2013, the Obama administration, along with the Republicans, overturned it. They tried to pass it through legislation, and the American people said, no, we don't like this idea. So they slipped it into an NDAA, and it became law. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act opened the door for domestic propaganda. So what kind of government would overturn anti-propaganda laws aimed at their citizens in favor of being able to propagandize their citizens and then create war all over the world with information that you can't make head nor tails of? There's not one competent person that can understand what's going on with the war in Iran right now. There's just no way to understand it. Can we start with MTG? Did you get the MTG up there? MTG is a number 8. She put this out onto social media. Isaiah, you'll have to read it for me because as John Watson, my buddy, says that I beat at golf all the time and makes fun of me on this show. He says you're better at reading the script and I should never even try it. I think my dad agrees. My son probably agrees as well. But check it out. MTG on Iran. Read that very quickly.
Yeah, she said, we're back to bombing Iran during the ceasefire for the Iran war. That is not a war because Iran bombed a vessel for crossing the Strait of Hormuz that they don't control yet, apparently control. Not sure how they bombed the vessel because we have totally and completely obliterated their military and beat them in the war. That is not a war, like 40 times now. I'm so glad that Trump ran for president to end forever foreign wars. Otherwise, I might start thinking this war, that is not a war, that we won like 40 times, is starting to turn into another forever foreign war in the Middle East. Good thing Pete Hegseth, Fox News Pete Hegseth, Secretary of the Department of War, is headed to Israel to take orders ask advice on how to totally wipe out Iran. Bring peace, sorry. I'm totally sure no one in the executive branch or donors will do any sort of insider training based on super duper secret military decisions. The kind based on intelligence that Congress is going to fuse with Israel's military after they all vote to pass the National Defense War Authorization Act, because this is exactly what we all voted for when we said, make America great again.
Now, there you go. Okay, now that is a perfect example of people being fed propaganda that is so ridiculous. As she, if you want to see that, I'll try to post it or repost it on social media. But if you want to see, it's terrific sarcasm, because what it lays out is what we all know is that the stories coming out of Iran are all over the place. We've destroyed their nuclear capabilities. We didn't destroy their nuclear capabilities. We control everything. We've destroyed their military.
Wiped out their Navy.
We've destroyed their Navy. We've destroyed their missile capabilities. Then we didn't destroy their missile capabilities. They're working with us. We're friendly now. Now we're not friendly. Now we hate them. We control the Straits of Hormuz because of our...
all their leadership is dead.
All their leadership is dead. Then it's not dead. Then we're off of the war. Then there's a peace agreement. Then there's not a peace agreement. We've won the war. We've already won the war. Then we didn't win the war. Now we're back at war. Now we've got the oil. Now we don't have the oil. We have the oil again. Maybe we're going to have the oil. Nobody has any idea what's going on. But if you talk to a Donald Trump supporter that's all in on Donald Trump, this makes perfect sense to them. They see nothing wrong with having no idea what's going on in their world, paying taxes to a government that passed legislation to propagandize them. The same government told them to roll up their sleeve. They were going to stick a needle in their arm with a substance. Nobody knew what it was. And if you didn't stick that needle in your arm, you couldn't work or travel. We had to shut down society. They put masks on your 2-year-old, shut down your beaches, left Walmart and Target open. And we still don't understand whether we're having clean elections or not. But this government is going to fix the problem. That's what the people on that side believe. And there's nothing you can do about it. There's no amount of conversation.
Kind of like the amendments.
You can't make fun of them enough. You can't ridicule them enough. They just will not see it through that lens because they understand the secret game going on behind the scenes, the 5D chess, better than you and I do, Therefore, if you just sit back, Rob, and pay attention to what's going to happen, Donald Trump's got it all figured out, and it's a military operation, and we're going to be just fine. This is what I think some
Grab your coffee, turn on Fox News. It's all good.
Greatest president of all time. He very well may be, but you don't know that because it's impossible for you to know that because nobody tells you the truth anymore. And despite the fact that you're being lied to every day, you think it's a big game. So you don't care that you're being lied to every day because it's a secret mission that you don't quite understand, but you know that it's there because you have some connection to a higher universe.
No panicins, Rob. That's what my cup says. No panicins, right?
They have a secret understanding of things that nobody else can understand. That's the Donald Trump scenario at this moment in time. It's kind of like the idea where the gas prices
go up. Idiot, Rob. I guess that's
the gas prices go up for 6 months, Isaiah, and I'm spending $70 to fill up a 4-cylinder car. And they go, well, they came down 75 cents. Rob, what are you complaining about? I told you they were going to come down. I'm like, wait a minute. I just paid for the last 6 months. I'm paying $4.29 for gas when it was $2.59 when I left.
Mm-hmm.
What about that?
And
they didn't steal it for a long time. They only stole it for a little bit of time, I guess is what they would say.
Yeah, let me tell you some impacts of the war locally. Yes, gas might go down and up and down and up because that's the nature of the business of gasoline, right? Our bid for our roads that we just got for St. Clair came in $100,000 more for the asphalt because of the oil than what it was supposed to be. $100,000 more.
That's what my buddies say that are in the construction business. One of my buddies said, Rob, he's a Trump fan. And he said, Rob, I can't afford this. That's what he goes, I'm arguing with my aunt because she loves Donald Trump and he's a Trump fan. He goes, but I can't afford it. Don't you get it? I cannot afford it. I don't have the money to spend. I don't have the margins with, 25 to 50 trucks to pay $140 for gasoline 3-4 times a day. I don't have the money. Yep. You don't understand. This is businesses work on small margins, don't have the money to transport at $140 to fill up their trucks. They don't have it. And people that don't do that for a living, they go, well, who cares? I'm paying a little bit more for my Honda. What are you worried about? They don't even see it. They don't care because they don't have to live it. And that is a big problem in our society. If it doesn't affect you, nobody seems to care. That's what this comedian, somebody sent me last night talking. He said the same thing as me. So when people heard me talking about, I don't understand how Christians, real Christians, people that really believe in Christ, that are good people, can watch what is happening in Gaza and not be affected by it. He made a comment about that. He goes, the Christians, he goes, what happened? He goes, it's the most popular religion in the world. He goes, and then they're bombing children and you can watch it with your own eyes. There's like 100 billion videos of an entire civilization being destroyed. They're completely immune to it. They don't even care. Like, what's for dinner, honey? They can sit there and eat a chicken wing as they're watching children have their heads blown off in Gaza and think nothing of it. And he made the comment, he was a comedian, but he was making the commentary that we're so conditioned to this insanity that it's just part of our daily lives. So you don't even pay attention to it anymore. Scary. Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to Donald Trump.
Like, has your mom ever told you when you're eating, hey, what about the starving children in Africa? Right?
Oh, all the time when I was a kid.
Right? Yeah.
All the time when I was a kid.
Yeah. And we're like, oh, we don't care. There's no starving children from Africa around me right now. I don't care. Right?
Just give me the food.
Yeah.
Number 10, this is Donald Trump. Now, this is Donald Trump in a little press conference here just recently. And I want you tell me, Donald Trump supporters, tell me if this makes sense to you, because if it does, explain it to me so that I can make sense of it, because I don't understand anything that Donald Trump is doing anymore. None of this makes any sense to me. And I think as a citizen that pays taxes in this country, I'm supposed to have some understanding of what my government is doing. At this moment in time, I don't have a clue what they're doing. Clip number 10.
Because it's so far underground, nobody's going to be able to get it except us, because we have the equipment that can get it. But I call it the nuclear dust. The nuclear material is so far down underneath a mountain, and now that's been determined. It would take massive machinery that we have that no other country has.
Mr. President, so you have no plans to go in, boots on the ground?
Why would I go in now? I'd go in when they're completely either eliminated or whatever happened, or an agreement's made.
So at one time, we had to go back to war with them to get the nuclear dust. At one time, we had obliterated their military. At one time, we had destroyed their nuclear capabilities. But not at one time, we had control of the strait. Now we don't have control of the strait. Now we don't have to go get the nuclear dust because it's been determined, Isaiah. It's been determined. It's too far down. We're the only ones that have the equipment because it's so far down. Well, I'm like, how did it get down there? Did they put it down there or did we put it down there? Because if they put it down there, wouldn't they be able to go get it? Or did a bomb hit it and push it down even further, like it's smashing a pancake and it just.
And now you're telling me that when we are bombing them to get the nuclear dust, now that's completely irrelevant. You said that I guess that's an accident then, right?
And I just asked my Donald Trump supporters, all I ask is not that you're wrong. It's that the information you get can't be right. That's all. And I ask in this society, that's why I say you should buy Michael Compton's book. If you can't explain it, think to yourself for a minute. If you can't explain it, is that good for society to have a government that you know is telling you lies 100%, making stuff up on a day-to-day basis? Is that good for the future of America when your government doesn't have to tell you the truth anymore? And you think it's because it's a secret plot that nobody can really figure out, but this is the way that it has to be done, is that we must be propagandized and lied to and a needle stuck in our arm and have our land taken up and create war every day and have our news be a complete and total joke and a mess. That is the way it has to be to fix ourselves.
Rob, you don't understand. It's 5D chess. It's 5D chess.
Bothers me so greatly. Number nine is Smedley Butler. Do you know who Smedley Butler is, Isaiah? Do you
No, I saw this. I was like, man, this is interesting.
Smedley Butler was a person who went out, I think it was back in the 40s or 50s, and started to explain what he learned about war. And what he said about war was it was a war for big banking and corporate interest. It was not war thinking, oh, we got to go save ourselves from these people. We got to go fight this war. It was they were orchestrated wars. And he came out and he started talking about that openly at one time. And read that to us real fast, Isaiah.
Yeah.
This is Smedley Butler, who lived from so this is before 1940, 1881 to 1940. This is what he said about war.
Major General Smedley Butler from the U.S. Marine Corps. Once a Marine, always a Marine, right, John? I served in all commissioned ranks from second lieutenant to major general. And during that period, I spent most of my time being a high-class muscle man for big business, for Wall Street, and for the bankers. In short, I was a racketeer for capitalism. I suspected I was just part of the racket all the time. Now I am sure of it.
And that is what Americans have got to come to grips with. If you're okay, if you just made the determination that government is so far out of field for us that they can orchestrate and create war all over the world, and that you will pay for it as they bomb civilizations that have done nothing to us other than our government tells us they've done something to us. There's no evidence that they've done anything to us. That we're going to bomb those people. We're going to create the weapons, and we're going to money launder through all of these different countries, right? Because you're going to send $1 billion into a foreign country. You don't know where that money goes, but you can pretty much bet that that money's coming right back into the hands of the people making the decisions. You can almost bet on it. Mm-hmm. It's money laundering through war with your money. How long do you put up with it before you say, you know what, we're not going to give you any more money for war? We don't trust you to conduct war. We don't trust you anymore. But you can do that as a citizen of this country. It's just that we don't. That is why you should buy Michael Compton's book, How to Keep a Republic. Right, Isaiah?
Yes, sir.
All right, one more time before we bring in Gary Wiegert. I don't want to run him too terribly late. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Please, one more time. I'm getting better and better. Aren't I getting better?
Fantastic.
I've promos the last 2 days, and I'm starting to get this out. And I see you're getting
Sean
happy.
Ryan inspired you. I can tell.
He did. When I saw him do that, and the seriousness of the way he described him, I'm like, well, this guy's got a huge podcast. He must know what he's doing. And Isaiah's telling me to do the same thing, and I'm too stubborn to do what Isaiah's telling me because I'm stubborn. But like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. It helps us beat the algorithms. It helps us spread a message. It helps everything if you just participate, especially our daily listeners. If you can do that for us, we would greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. All right, let's bring in Gary Wiegert. Looking forward to talking to Gary. There he is. What's going on, Gary?
It's all good.
How you been?
I've been pretty good. I've been knocking doors. I've hit over 5,000 doors now, so the legs are getting a little weary.
What are you hearing?
I really enjoy chatting with people.
What are you hearing out there? What are people most concerned with as you knock on doors?
I tell you what, safety, which is right up my alley. I was a policeman for 35 years, so that's up my alley. Safety. The second thing is this income tax. This has become the topic of the day. I thought at first it was a pretty much big nothing, but then I realized as everyone is talking about it, how this will impact seniors, and seniors are really upset about this.
Well, let's start there then, because I had Ben Keithley on yesterday. I had a Democrat by the name of Michael Burton on Tuesday, and he came in and he's saying the same thing that your constituents are saying to you. They feel like it's going to hurt seniors. It's going to hurt people on fixed incomes. It's going to hurt people that don't pay income tax to begin with because their services are the service taxes are going to rise. What is your take on it? Have you read the bill? Have you looked through the bill and you've made some determination on it? How do you feel about Amendment 5 as it's structured right now?
Yes, so I looked at the bill, but I also looked at the politics of this. And I've been watching the Democrats on this, and they feel like they are going to overturn the legislature based on this issue.
Ooh.
And so, the Democrats could have filibustered this, but they knew it was so bad. I don't know if they did the polling on this or not, but they knew this was such a bad issue that they just let it go through. They knew that this would help them out in the long run. And so I think the Republicans are making a huge mistake on this. I don't think we should live or die with this income tax. And so I even looked up my numbers in House Seat 110, and 68% of Republican voters the last time, 2 years ago, are 60 and over. And I would say the numbers are running probably 9 out of 10 seniors are against this, because we know, and I'm a retiree myself, we know that we are going to get hit hardest by this. I mean, now that we're done paying the income tax, now the state of Missouri is going to get rid of it. That doesn't make any sense to us. And let's face it, the baby boomers are the ones who carry the Republican Party.
That's a really good point. You pay income tax your entire life, all of your income, you're paying income tax. Now you're going to retire, because you're saying the base is 60 years and older. Now you're going to retire, and they're going to take away the income tax that you paid your entire life, and now they're going to hit you on your fixed income with sales and usage taxes. That's a good point. That's a really good point.
You know what people really don't like too? So what started this was I started getting calls from people who were in real estate. And they were saying, hey, you can't support this because if we start taxing services, which I don't know if you know it right now, but services are protected in our Missouri Constitution. We cannot tax services. And we voted on that, I don't know what, 10, 15 years ago. And the Republican Party came out against taxing services. And now all of a sudden the Republican Party is for taxing services. I don't understand this at all, how this turnabout came. And so I got calls from realtors, and they're saying, hey, this is going to make the prices of property skyrocket if we started getting taxed on our sales of houses. And they said that will be very inflationary. But what they also didn't like is it will also drive up the prices of our houses, which is also how they determine your property tax on houses.
Which is another fraud, if you ask me, Gary. That needs to
Oh
be
yes, I mean I think personal property tax. I mean personal property. I hate paying on my car every year. I even knocked on a guy's door, and he says, "Hey, I'm tired of paying on my canoe." He pays property tax on a canoe I had never heard of, and I didn't even realize that. But when you go door to door, you really get the feel of where the people are at on these issues, because they voice their opinions strongly at you as you go door to door. And let me tell you, retirees are very nervous about this. I know I am, because I'm on a fixed income, I'm on a pension. And now all of a sudden we don't know what's going to happen as they change the taxing structure. And they keep quoting that business likes this. Well, I don't think so. Business likes certainty. Business doesn't like, hey, we might do this, we might do that. How do you plan for your future on that? So I think the Republican Party has really gone off the rails on this issue. I think there's just some people in the Republican Party who have talked to themselves, really haven't gotten a feel from the people out here, and really haven't got a feel from retirees. And what I really don't like is there's some of these phony grassroots organizations, and they're coming out and they're attacking us retirees, saying we're not good Republicans, we're not good conservatives because we don't like it. And I think they're wrong, and they're trying to use guilt to guilt us into supporting this. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I see some of the arguments. I see the arguments you're making. The arguments that you're talking about, I've watched these be aimed at me and Isaiah, because I haven't even set up whether I'm for or against it yet. We're going to here within the next 10 days or so. But even questioning it, I was getting called a commie. I'm siding with the liberals, and just questioning it. I wasn't in lockstep with what the party was telling me. And they were coming after my show, coming after Isaiah, coming after everybody that said, wait a minute here, this doesn't seem like a good deal for the citizens of Missouri. You get labeled. They basically try to say that you're helping the Democrats by even mentioning this. And I thought, well, that's kind of an odd place to put me in. Now all of a sudden I'm a Democrat because I'm just questioning the bill. I haven't came out against it yet.
Right. So I've come out against it. I mean, my constituents are demanding I do that. And I'm meeting the needs of my constituents, but also my own personal beliefs. And I think we just disregarded retirees in this issue. And also these attacks on me and my friends and everyone else who doesn't support it. I can't believe how vicious they are, calling me a Democrat and calling me a liberal and a pro-communist and all kind of crazy stuff. So I think that shows their desperation. And I just don't like the way they've done that. It's you got these phony, supposedly grassroots organizations that support this. And you know, I'll mention it, Freedom Principle. To watch them is, and they do it anonymously. They don't even do it with a name. They just come out from Freedom Principle with their name, and then they attack us. And so it's like, no, I think they're the ones who are wrong on this issue. And here, I'll give you just some simple numbers that I put out on my flyer. 3/5 of the Missouri budget comes from the income tax. $8 to $9 billion is collected by that. How are we going to recover that money? By my numbers, it looks like we will either have to triple the sales tax, or we will have to double the sales tax and add in service tax. And I do not think we are ready for this, because here's another part of this issue too with Amendment 5. It says they will suspend the Hancock Amendment for 5 years to make up for these costs. Now, the House came up with 3 years, and then the Senate bumped it back to 5. Well, this is what I hear from people all over that I go door to door. They do not trust our government.
Right.
And they don't want this to happen, because let's face it, the only thing that protects us is the Hancock Amendment. I think it was passed in like 1980, and it says we are allowed to vote on every tax increase. And I don't know why the legislature thinks they know better than we do, us citizens, on what we should be taxed on. So if they want to do this, put this out to a vote and let us decide what wants to be taxed, not the government. And so to suspend the Hancock Amendment, I think that's a terrible idea. I can't believe Republicans are doing that.
It's interesting you say that, because I think your opponent is pro A5, big time, if I understand it correctly.
Yes, he is. He's part of this group that supports getting rid of the Hancock Amendment. I think he is wrong on this issue. I think there's a lot of money coming in for this, and I'm sure that's where he's going. I don't think he's meeting the needs of our constituents. I think he's just following the needs of what the moneyed interests want to do. And if you look at the history of House Seat 110, if you remember, we had Dottie Bailey, and you know, if you notice, the people in 110 only last for 4 years. And I think the reason is because I think we're a little leery of government, and we get attacked for doing that.
Yeah.
So Dottie Bailey came out. Well, here's another story. 5 years ago, the legislature, we voted down twice to increase the gas tax. Twice we voted that down. The citizens said we do not want this. So what did the legislature do? They passed a gas tax, but didn't call it a tax. They called it a rebate. And so if you fill out the paperwork, if you fill out all your paperwork for for buying gas, you can probably get $40 or $50 back. But who's going to do that all year?
Exactly.
And that was just a phony way to circumvent the Hancock Amendment. And they were wrong then. Dottie Bailey pretty much got run out over that issue. If you remember, she was real strong on that. And then you had Justin Sparks came in, and I don't know where Justin would have been on this issue. I got a feeling he wouldn't have went with it, but we don't know because he left early. But if you remember, he stood up to the party over the early voting we have for over who's going to be the speaker.
Right.
So, I mean, we've had a tough time out here with the 110. If you stand up to the party comes after you. So I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback from the party. In fact, I already have some. But I feel strongly that this is wrong to increase our taxes.
Well, you need more people, in my opinion, Gary, to stand up to the party. That's really what needs to happen. You know, there's big money in Missouri. You got a $50 billion budget. As I call it, Missouri Inc. You know, when you have a $50 billion annual budget, that's a lot of power in the hands of the government, because they determine where those allocations go. So, I mean, it's a lot of power. And I think that power needs to be reined back in. That's my take on it. What do you think of Amendment 4? You're saying that you don't think the government should have a say more so than the people. I think that this kind of changes the balance of power with the initiative petition structure as well. How do you feel about Amendment 4 in Missouri?
Well, Amendment 4, I've got mixed feelings, because I like that Amendment 4's goal is to keep outstate money from coming in here. Because let's face it, that's how it affected Amendment 3 last time. All this outstate money flooded in here. So I like that aspect of it. I don't like the aspect where one area can affect the vote. I believe in one person, one vote. So I think my vote should be just as important here in St. Louis or St. Louis County as it is in St. Louis City or even Kansas City, even though they may think different than I do. But I still believe in one person and one vote. So if to prevent from changing our Constitution so frequently like we do, I think there should be a higher threshold. So instead of doing it by congressional district or area, I think it should be lifted up to maybe 56% to change our Constitution or 60%, but have a high majority to change our Constitution. Because right now our Constitution is too easily changed.
Yeah, I think if they make it to what they want to do with A4 is you have all 8 districts that would have to be 50+1. I think that kind of takes it off the table, don't you? I don't know that you're going to get unless they're like saying, "Hey, are we going to?" I don't know, whatever. It would have to be something crazy to get all 8 voting districts to get 50+1 on any piece of legislation. In my opinion, do you think that kind of takes it out of the hands of the people? I think it kind of just reshapes the IP system. So
I think it's pretty much done. If they,
I do too. I think at that point
this would pass. It's over with.
Yeah.
But I think there's times where you do want to change your Constitution. But I think you want a real high majority of people, not just Republicans, not just Democrats, but you want people who support an issue with high numbers. And that's why I want the threshold higher. That's what Florida does. I think their number is 56. Could be higher, I'm not sure. But that seems to be what a lot of these states are doing.
What do you, I was going to ask you that too, because you brought it up. What is, when you knock on doors, you're in St. Louis County, so it's a little bit more Democrat than conservative, I would assume. You're getting a little bit more Democrat play out there. But how many people are saying they're not involved in party at all? When you say, are you Republican, Democrat, that kind of thing? Are you hearing a lot more people say they're independents? I am in my world, but I don't know if that's just because of the show. I'm not really sure.
So I would say swing voters are probably, they're the majority of Democrats or Republicans as swing voters, and they identify as swing. So when I talk to them, I have to ask them, hey, if you want to vote for me, I'm going to need you to pull a Republican ticket. And I don't feel like these people want to declare what party they are,
right?
At least here in Missouri. Now, maybe when they walk in, that's when they declare it. But I was really surprised at the low numbers of people who actually vote in our primaries. We have a very low turnout in our primaries. It looked like from last time I needed 3,000 votes. I think this time the number is going to be higher. So the people who vote are people who are 60 and older. And I think they're going to come out to vote against Amendment 5. I think they're going to come out in big numbers to defeat this. And I'm believing it's going to be 70-30 loss.
Wow, really? You know, Jake Jackson, who is he works with us on People's Lobby Missouri. It's one of my organizations. He says the same thing. He says if he's reading the tea leaves right, he thinks it's about 70-30 against A5. And he even said, he goes, I think if A5 passes, that tells me there's something going on with the elections based on what I'm hearing from people. So very interesting, because he said the exact same thing. He said it I think he posted it on our chat one time, if I'm not mistaken. Can I play you a clip on A5 from Mike Kehoe? Did you see this, that he posted this yesterday, Mike Kehoe, about A5?
No, I didn't see it.
All right, if Isaiah, if you're there, this is clip.
Ready to rock?
Yeah, it's clip number 4. This is what Mike Kehoe had to say about Amendment 5, because I believe this is coming from the top, right? I think this is the leadership of the Republican Party. They want A5 passed. I'm not sure why they want this done, but here is, it could be just they think this is going to be better for growth in Missouri. I don't know. But here is Mike Kehoe, Governor Mike Kehoe, talking about A5. Just put out a social media post yesterday. Check it out.
To let Missourians keep more of their money and let them make a decision on how to spend it versus an elected official, I think is paramount to how an economy moves forward. And so for 18 months, we went around the state saying, we know how to get our economy going. We know how to grow our population. The way to do that is to give relief to our citizens through tax relief. And so our plan to eliminate the state income tax took about a year to develop. A lot of people were very involved in it, including the economists at the White House and multinational people on how to do it responsibly so you don't lose any services for first responders, education, etc. But you also put $9 billion annually back into Missourians' pockets to spend. We were able to get that proposal through the House and Senate this year, and now it's on the ballot in August for Missourians to vote on whether they think it's appropriate, because it is in our Constitution. So we do have to have a constitutional measure, what I'm fine with. But we think it makes us competitive with other states. And you know all the states, you can list them, I can too, and you can see how their populations are growing without imposing a tax on their people. And we think it's about time to rewrite our almost 100-year tax code, which was developed in 1931. So if you put those two things together, the solution can be Missourians having more disposable income to spend as they see fit.
That's the push. And I had Ben Keithley on yesterday. He's a proponent. I know Bishop Davidson. He's a proponent. It seems like most of the Republicans that are in office now are pro A5. There's not many that are coming out dissenting against A5. What do you think of his argument that you're going to be able to choose where you spend your taxes versus it coming directly out of your check where you have no say in where your taxes go? This was the argument Ben made originally yesterday was this is a good tax primarily because you get to determine how much tax you're going to spend versus it being taken directly out of your check.
Well, let me say first off, what Governor Kehoe did, giving state control back to my police department, I thought that was fantastic. He's trying to save my police department, which is in dire straits right now. So I like that. I like that his wife is the treasurer of Her Health, Her Future, as we try to overturn Amendment 3. I like that, but I believe the governor is wrong on this issue. And, you know, I've listened to these arguments too about that this will bring business here. So these states that have no income tax, they got different forms of revenue coming in. You have Alaska and you have Texas. They have oil money. You have Florida has tourism.
Big time.
You have Tennessee has a lot of tourism. You have Nevada has gaming. So you have, those are 5 of them. I think there's 8 total, maybe 9, but those states have different forms of income. So I think that's maybe the word is false narrative on that, but all those states have something that is why business is coming back to them, and that is they have right to work. Now we've already voted here. I don't know if people know it. I was one of the spokesmen for right to work, but the citizens voted that they rejected right to work. So we need to respect what our citizens want. And so our citizens said, we don't want right to work. So I respect that. And also, but these states, they're bringing business in. I heard this coffee company just went to Tennessee, one of the famous coffee companies. I don't drink coffee, but one of the famous coffee companies just went from Washington to DC or to Tennessee because they were tired of all the labor problems. They were tired of all the strikes. They were tired of all the negotiating. So they just had enough and they moved to Tennessee. So I think all these things have to be interjected into there and say, hey, wait a second, there's also different variables in this argument. And I just don't think that to give the government a blank check. I mean, I want to go to the legislature, but I also do not trust the legislature. And that is what I'm hearing when I go door to door.
Right.
People here do not trust this legislature.
Yeah.
So to let them decide what we're going to be taxed on, I don't think that's a good idea. I think the citizens know better what we want to pay our taxes on and not the legislature.
I got to give you just one little bit of information because Ben Keithley yesterday, he made mention of the tourism angle. And he said that he made it as a positive for passing A5. He said, we have a lot of tourism here. We don't recognize it. He goes, but if all the tourists that come in to the state of Missouri, he goes, that those people are going to be paying the service taxes. They help citizens of Missouri.
His claim was that we actually have more tourism per capita than Florida and other states.
That's exactly right. So he said, we have more tourism per capita than Florida. He said he turned it and spun it as a positive.
I heard that too. I think it's laughable, to tell you the truth.
You're not buying it, Gary? All right. I don't know.
I don't want to make fun of Ben, but it is laughable. If you think that the Ozarks can compare to Florida,
Disney World, Justin, hard. Miami,
Clearwater.
I heard another crazy allegation from the other side when they said vote for 5, so that way we can tax lobbyist services. And I was like, oh my gosh, they are reaching so hard for this.
Yeah, when he said that yesterday, Gary, I don't know where they get these numbers from, but I was thinking to myself, because I live in Florida. I go back and forth from Florida to Missouri. I don't know if you know that, but I live in Orlando, Florida. I lived 50 years in Missouri. That's where my family, it's where I raised my kids. I coached baseball, went to school, went to college. Missouri is my hometown. My wife knows that, right? We're going to move back to Missouri at some point. And now that I'm in Florida, first of all, Florida has some incredibly charming towns, right? So you have incredible amounts of tourism here. When I fly into Florida from Missouri, and when I was working in Los Angeles, most of the time that I flew into Orlando between the middle of March to the middle of May, I'm one of the few people that actually lives in Florida. It's almost all tourism. You get off the plane and they got their Mickey Mouse ears on and they're all talking. There's all these big groups and they're flying in. It doesn't matter what airline. It could be any airline. And almost the entire plane when I would fly into Florida would be tourists coming here for whatever reason, primarily to see Disney World. I think it's a big attraction globally to get into. But you can also, the Keys, people want to come, they want to vacation in the Keys. People want to go to Destin, Florida. They vacation in Florida. I cannot imagine. And I don't know where he gets those numbers. I'm not calling Ben a liar because I like Ben. It just seems so impossible for me to believe that per capita, we spend more on tourism in Missouri than we do in Florida. It just was a really tough one for me to swallow, but I don't know where the numbers come from, so I don't want to get too into it. It just seemed very odd to me because I live in Florida and there's a lot of tourism in Florida. I mean, a lot. Okay. One other question was A3. We talked about abortion. I know this is big conversation amongst the pro-life people in the state of Missouri. One of the things, and I'm sure you're aware of it, I believe that if the Republican Party, the leadership and the money behind the Republican Party wanted to end abortion, they had it in their hands. It was really important to them. They would have put the right people in charge of the legislation to pass IP reform. Instead, they allowed Mary Elizabeth Coleman to sabotage her own bill. Now we're in a situation where you can have abortion up until high school, I think, in the state of Missouri. You can have it's on demand. It's one of the most liberal abortion policies on planet Earth. And now they want to come back and pass A3, which is fine. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't really have an opinion on it quite yet. But if you're a true Christian, you look at it and go, wait a minute, you're going to make exceptions that you're going to put into the Constitution for rape, incest, fetal anomaly. And that says to a lot of Christians, well, you're now creating a subcategory of people that their lives can be extinguished. And that doesn't sit well with a lot of Christians. And on the other side, that the A3 side, and I don't know where you're at on this, but the A3 side says, well, wait a minute, it's better than what we have now. Let's at least move in the right direction because we can't pass the abolishment of all abortion in the state of Missouri. So we have to take what we can get when we can get it. Where do you sit on A3?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I was the pro bono lobbyist for Coalition Life when they tried to do those, remember they called them sanctuary abortion bills in St. Louis City. Yep. And we were able to defeat that. And what we did was we nullified whatever they were doing in the city. I went down to the state and we defeated them. So I'm real proud of my pro-life work on that. But let's see here. This time I got distracted on that question. Okay. So now I believe that life begins at conception, but I have also had to swallow my beliefs because I think this is going to be our only chance really to win this. And even though we're not going to get everything we want, I believe that we can possibly win this. And even this will be a tough shot because we have included in there, now I didn't, but the legislature did, included exceptions and included life of the mother. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and rape and incest. Even though I don't like it, that was included in it. And I believe maybe this will give us a chance to win. Now, it doesn't go far enough to the prohibitionists. I think they are super radical. I won't say they're wrong, but I still believe they're super radical. And I think they turn a lot of people off. And here's why they turn me off. They believe that a woman who has an abortion should go to jail. They believe that if you drive over to Illinois and get an abortion, you are charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Well, I was a policeman for 35 years. I am not going to lock up some woman who has an abortion. I think that goes too far. I'm more forgiving of this. I believe my God is a forgiving God, and he would not want these women in jail who have abortions. So I won't go with the abolitionists. I support this. I think they go too far. Have I had to compromise my values maybe a little bit in the hopes of winning? So, you know, I tell the story of if there's a fire, will you go into a fire and save 1 people, 2 people, if there's 10 in there? Or will you grab a hose and try to put the fire out and save all 10? I think you go in and you save as many as you possibly can. And sometimes you lose, we lose some people on this. But I believe in Amendment 3. Now, the people who are the conservatives who are against this because they say it doesn't go far enough, I think they're sincere. I think they believe in what they're doing, and I have many of their same beliefs. So I don't get upset at these people because they're putting dilemmas on this too, and I realize that. But that's what politics is many times, is having to make tough votes. And that's what I'm not afraid of. I'm not afraid to make tough votes, and I'll express it. If you remember right, when Mary Elizabeth Coleman sabotaged her own bill, I then made the motion that we censure her, much like we did Liz Cheney, because I knew exactly what she did. She sabotaged her own bill. So she was in there to kill it. And people do that sometimes. People will sponsor a bill, and I've seen that happen down in Jefferson City. They'll sponsor their own bill to control it so that way they can kill it.
This is why when we talk about A5, this is where the distrust comes from. You hit it right on the head. I think you're first of all, you're a free thinker. I like that, right? Because you're on these amendments. Most people are either all for one side, all for the other, right? So it's almost right down the line. But you give, I think, very reasoned approach to why you're either for 4, for 3, against 5. I don't see that a lot anymore, so I appreciate that, Gary. I look at it very similar to you. I really don't talk about abortion and abortion policy. I'm with you. I think abortion is bad for society. I think it's not good. I also believe, as you do, that I do not want to be putting women in prison who have a different belief system in a free society. My religious beliefs do not have to be held by society. They don't have to be. It's my religious belief, right? That is what I believe. I believe that abortion is terrible. That does not mean that everybody in society we have to pass laws. Some things are just cultural, right? You have to raise your kids. You have to discuss it, and you have to make free decisions on your own. It can't be that my deeply held beliefs have to be law, right? If my belief is law all the time, then why don't I just be a king and I'll just make everything the way I want it to be? So I agree with your reasoning. I think you're right on the money with the way you're looking at it. Last question for you, and I would prefer, as you do, that there would be no abortions. I prefer it, but sometimes you got it is what it is. Anything else that is a big topic for you? And then finally, how do people find you if they want to donate to your campaign? If they want to help you, how do they get involved with the Gary Wiegert campaign?
Okay, the big topic in my campaign is public safety. I was out in Ferguson at the riots. I was in the city of St. Louis at the riots, and I thought police did a terrible job on that. In fact, we did nothing. We just allowed people to loot and burn. And I had four people I knew on the St. Louis City Police Department were shot, just standing in static lines. 2 guys out in the county were shot. My friend David Dorn was killed.
Yep.
Because we didn't do our job. You gotta. I believe he was 80 years old. Maybe he's in his late 70s.
He was executed, Gary. That was what was so crazy about it. That man was executed.
I made a mistake of watching it on YouTube. I wish I wouldn't have watched that, see my friend die like that. But here you got this man showing up because we're not showing up and doing our job. So you got Sam Light Pawn Company. The owner calls like, hey, can you get down there and just to help me out? They're looting my business. So he gets down there and gets killed, and then they take his gun from him. I mean, it was terrible what happened. And that was because we didn't do our job. And I would like to see something maybe statewide where we train everyone in these academies across the state how to handle riot control. That's what I'd like to see to maybe fix this problem. Train every one of these kids instead of just throwing them out there in line and just being pin cushions for people to hit with things. I think we ought to treat them how to use a wedge, or if need be, how to kettle people. Kettle got a bad name because of the way it was done, but I really believe kettling actually saved.
What is kettling? I didn't know what that means. What is kettling?
So kettle means you just surround them and then you arrest them.
Oh.
And so I had wanted to kettle at City Hall when they tried to take over City Hall. I had a small unit of like 8 guys, and when we had like pushed them out of City Hall, they tried to gain in City Hall. When all the riot police came, we could have just blocked the one exit gate. We could have surrounded them, locked them up, but we didn't. We chased them out. So once we chased them out and allowed them to go free, They then went, even though they're breaking the law, they're trying to enter into City Hall illegally. They went out on the highway. They blocked the highway. We chased them off the highway. They then went on Market and they blocked Market. And so we just chased them all day instead of actually, once you're committing crimes, I think you have to take action before things get out of control. So if you have people honking horns, blowing whistles, doing whatever, lock them up for the minor charge, because when dark comes, Antifa is going to get involved, and now you're going to have violence.
I've seen it.
And I think that's what we need to do. We need to take action and actually protect the citizens, and that's what we need to do. And that's what I really hope to bring to Jefferson City if I get elected.
Outstanding. And how do people find you, Gary?
Okay, I've got Gary Wiegert, and it's Wiegert for mo.com.
There it is, right at the top. You got Protect the Community right up top. We got your page right on our screen. Elect Gary Wiegert, State Rep District 110. Tell people where District 110 is. What town?
It's Clarkson Valley and Wildwood.
Gotcha. Okay. Gary Wiegert, I wish you well.
Very conservative thinkers out here.
I hear good things about you from people that I trust. So it's always a good thing when people that are in my circles, because my circles don't like hardly anybody, but they like you. I wish you all the best. If you have anything that you want to bring to our attention before the primaries, or if you get to the primaries and in the general, just reach out to us and we'll get you on.
All right. Thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it, for letting me get my viewpoints out there.
You got it. Great to see you. Have a great day, sir.
All right. Bye.
All right. Gary Wiegert, everybody. District 110. I do have a lot of people that like him, and some of the people that are close to me like him very much. And I thought it was kind of reasoned approach, don't you, Isaiah? You don't have to agree. There's deeply held beliefs when it gets to abortion, right? I understand that 100%. I think he's kind of saying what you and I say, as much as we want abortion to go away.
Oh, of course, yeah.
That's where our hearts are at. There is politics in all of these games, and you gotta sometimes weigh it. You know, I don't
That's
know
why you haven't heard me comment too much.
I don't know what the right answer is.
Yeah, it's because I've talked to very smart people that are already representatives, running for representative, right? And I think we all fall in the same kind of boat of, if we can get something done, it's better than nothing, I think. Where the current state is right now.
Right.
And that's what I asked. That's what I always ask everyone whenever I do talk to them face to face, is like, do you see this as just a step in the right direction, basically? And they all say yes.
Yeah.
It's a big step in the right direction.
I'm trying to get that debate between Wes Scroggins and Kerry Wells together, but it doesn't happen because I made
mention. Gary's still listening. We got I know mentioned Freedom Principle. We got our own Freedom Principle babysitter that watches our show. So
well, he's not on anymore. He washed his hands.
He comes in and he leaves. He comes in and he leaves.
He washed his hands and he washed his feet of us when we said that we heard something that Candace Owens said. He did. The fact that we even saw her face or talked about her in any way, shape, or form, that we can no longer deal with it.
You couldn't believe it.
All right. AdvancedWellnessMed.com. And then we're going to bring in Amanda. Amanda, I apologize. We're a little bit late. We'll bring in Amanda Hollinsby, her daughter suffering from brain cancer. I want to hear her story, primarily because of Advanced Wellness MED, right? I've heard the stories from Dr. Helen Gelhardt about cancer, how to treat it. She is our doctor. Everybody knows where I'm at with Helen Gelhardt. I love her. AdvancedWellnessMed.com. AdvancedWellnessMed.com. Again, feel, think, look better, live longer. That is her motto. She assists the divine healer, and she works on the problems that kill you. Number one, if you have Alzheimer's or dementia or know somebody that does, whether it be friend or family member, you've got to get a hold of Dr. Helen immediately. She doesn't work with the hospital administrations. I think Amanda's going to tell you working through the American hospital system and the insurance company is a real pain in the tail. She agrees. Dr. Helen said, well, I agree. And she's out of there. She's going to do her own thing because she wants to treat people the way she feels it works best for them. And she doesn't want to be boxed in by insurance companies and hospital administrations. And that's why I think she's fantastic. The earliest cancer detection blood test available, symptom reversal for Alzheimer's and dementia, pre-screenings for heart attacks and strokes, anything that kills you, she'll help you. Dr. Helen Gelhardt, it is the call that you need to make. For me, especially, anybody in your family who's suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia and you're not calling Dr. Helen Gelhardt, I just have to ask, why not? Don't you understand very quickly why she's on our team? She's on our team because the hospital administrations are not good. They're not good. You saw it through COVID. If you're listening to this show, you already know that. They're not good. Get with somebody who actually cares about you, that didn't take the big money, that didn't get locked up in that nonsense and wants to care for you the proper way. That is Dr. Helen Gelhot, 314-576-0094, or you can check out the website, advancedwellnessmed.com. And then we got to get to eXp Realty and our good friend Debbie Genus. Debbie Genus, the reason we went with her, first of all, she listens to the show. She reached out to us. I went and had lunch with her, Isaiah, and I'm just trying to read the situation. And you and I talked about it for a little bit. I'm like, I just got to make sure realtor's a big one, because when you're telling people that you want to buy a house with somebody, that's real business. You're talking about life savings being involved and everything else. You make a bad decision on a house, or you don't get the right amount for your house, and so forth and so on. Those are big life-changing decisions. She said, Rob, I've been around for 28 years. I've been doing this through the ups and downs and crazy turnarounds. I'll sing that song to you, Isaiah, as well, if you don't know that one. She's been through it all, and she's involved in insurance for 14 years as well. Very stable, understands the market. She'll take care of you. She's conscientious. 28 years in real estate, 14 years in insurance. She knows the game. She's a part of the family. If you're buying or selling a home, first call you should make is Debbie Genus, 314-482-9205, or you can check out her email, Deborah.Genus, Deborah.Jeanis at exprealty.com. Debbie Genus, 314-482-9205. When it's time for a house, go with an expert, go with a pro, go with somebody who's been around for a long time and understands how to take care of business. It is Debbie Genus, 314-482-9205, Deborah.Genus at exprealty.com. And then I got to get to Everett Jones before we bring in, let me find what he sent to me. Keep messing this up for Everett.
$250.
Yeah, but I want to read it. All right. So Everett Jones, joneswater.com. Everett's been with us from the very beginning. If you're drinking tap water in the year 2026, Isaiah, not much we can do for you. There's nothing I can say or do that would change your mind at this point, but you should not be drinking tap water. With the things they put in the tap water nowadays, you don't want any part of it. You think Mexico's bad. Ours looks cleaner. I'm not so sure in all these places it doesn't rip away at the body at some point because of the stuff that they put in our water. But nonetheless, if you want clean water, if you want fresh air in your home or business, it's always joneswater.com and our good friend Everett Jones, 636-899-1040. You'll be the filter, or you'll buy the filter. If you want to do business with Everett on the Missouri side, it's St. Charles County, Lincoln, Franklin, Warren, St. Louis, and Jefferson. If you go to the dark side, the east side, Madison, Monroe, Jersey, and St. Clair. joneswater.com, 636-899-1040. He's going to run a special for you here. For your business or home, he said, Rob, let's promote our 250 years as a country with a $250 discount on a whole home Hydrotech HTO water treatment system or a whole home April air dehumidifier for the month of July. So all this month, you get a $250 discount. Say Rob sent you, say Isaiah sent you, say the Rob Carter Show sent you. That doesn't really matter. If you're looking to get clean, fresh water in your home or business, he's got a special for you, a $250 discount. That's not snoozing on somebody. That's a serious discount. $250 off a whole home Hydrotech HTO water treatment system or a whole home April air dehumidifier for the month of July. joneswater.com, joneswater.com, 636-899-1040. All right, let's bring in Amanda. I'm dying to hear this story. I'm always fascinated by just the bureaucracy around medicine, and I think she's going to have quite the story to tell us. Amanda, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing great. I want to apologize for what you're going through. I have daughters. I can only imagine the pain and the worry and the anxiety that you're going through, but I want to understand the story of your beautiful daughter, Braylon, and what she's had to go through. So first of all, just give us a background of the story and then what you've uncovered throughout the insurance business and the hospital administration business. What have you recognized?
Okay. It's difficult to summarize 3 years of this fight, but I will give my best shot here. Initially, she was diagnosed at the age of 16. So this month, that's 3 years ago. She was diagnosed with a terminal aggressive brain tumor. She was given about 1 to 3 months to live from a prestigious cancer institution in the Southeast here. And they offered only standard of care, the chemo and the radiation. She did have surgery to have as much of the tumor removed as they could, and then they offered chemo and radiation. Well, I've worked in the medical field for almost 30 years, and I am familiar with her diagnosis. I'm familiar with standard of care, and that it's mostly palliative. And if it does extend your life, it's very minimally. You're lucky if you get a few weeks, maybe a few months, and that comes at a cost. And my husband and I had decided if she doesn't have long to live, we want her to have the best quality of life for the time that she has left. So we turned down the standard of care. And it felt like the medical system became very hostile towards us when we weren't doing what they thought we should do. We begged, absolutely begged for any alternative. Is there anything besides standard of care? Anywhere in the world, it doesn't matter the cost. We want to give our daughter a fighting chance. And the oncologist at this initial hospital said, sorry, standard of care is all we have to offer. Chemo, radiation, those are your only options. I even asked if there were clinical trials, and I came to find out that unless you fail standard of care first, you most of the time can't enter into a clinical trial. So I was left to do the research on my own. And I did, initially I found this doctor that did alternative care. And through his treatment, he kept her alive for about 2.5 years until she didn't respond to his treatment anymore. But during that time, when she was on his treatment, I felt like there was so much hostility, doctors. And initially, we went back to that oncologist at that original institution and said, hey, we're really excited. We found this doctor that does alternative care, and he's had a number of, especially children, that he cured of terminal brain cancers. And that doctor said to me, oh, yeah, I know about him. And I was so angry. I was so angry that I felt like he withheld potential treatment options from us. And being an adult, being the parent of a child given a terminal diagnosis, I felt it was our right to be fully informed of any possible treatment options. So as it was, we did do that alternative treatment, like I said, for about 2.5 years. And then it did start to fail. She had additional surgery to remove what they thought was just a meningioma, a benign tumor, only to find out that her tumor had grown. This was a different doctor. Her original surgeon had moved. So after that surgery, which was last fall, her tumor grew within 3 weeks significantly. So I contacted that doctor again, and he said, sorry, at this point, the only thing that we can offer you is chemo and radiation. And the local surgeon in the town where we live, the neurosurgeon, he said the same thing, sorry, chemo and radiation. Then I reached out on Twitter, and I got the attention of one of Dr. Linda Liao's former patients. He underwent DC vaccine in one of Dr. Liao's clinical trials 11 years ago, and he's been cancer-free ever since. So he said to me, I will reach out to Dr. Liao on your behalf. Within a couple of days, I had a video conference call with her. A couple of days later, we had our trip booked to go see her out in Los Angeles. One of the very first things she said to me when she reviewed Braylon's MRI was, this girl needs surgery and she needs it now. I said, I can't find anybody to do it. And she said, you get her here, I'll do it. So, like I said, within days we were out there. She removed a massive tumor. And then we are seeking out standard of care, or excuse me, not standard of care, alternative care, the DC Vax. But it's only offered through compassionate use in the United Kingdom right now. So that means it's all out of pocket, as was the initial alternative treatment that we did. That was all out of pocket. That was $17,600 a month for over 2.5 years. We paid for that.
So they bankrupt you.
Well, we've used our savings, we've used our 401k, and we have done massive fundraising. But again, we find ourselves with the general medical system offering standard of care, end of story, that's it. So I thank God, I tease, I call it the secret society of survivors. that I had to find through Twitter. There are long-term survivors out there that have accessed these alternative care options. And this DC Vax sounds very promising. I agree with the approach. It sounds like it can significantly help all kinds of cancers. It uses your own immune cells, that they load those immune cells with antigens, proteins from your own tumor cells. And it teaches your immune system how to find the cancer and how to kill it. So we've already been to the United Kingdom for the initial phase of this treatment, where they take her immune cells. The tumor was shipped there ahead of time, and her vaccine is ready to go. So we are leaving in 13 days to go to the United Kingdom to start the initial phase of her cancer vaccine.
What has this done to your family? You know, I'm thinking about this as you were talking. You know, I have daughters. I don't know that I could survive the situation you're in. Quite honestly, I was getting choked up thinking about it. But what has it done to your family? Has it brought everybody closer? Has the financial strain started to really wear on the family? I'm always curious when you, especially a young child, you know, just the, you know, your whole future and your life and your everything is tied up in your children, and to have a 16-year-old in that situation. What has this done to your family? How have you responded to it?
You know, I feel like life now for all of us is defined in two ways: before her diagnosis and after her diagnosis. And initially, I felt like I am living every parent's worst nightmare, and I'm not waking up from this. The one thing is, our faith in God has grown exponentially. And I heard somebody say once, and I believe that it's true, when I grew up a control freak. And I don't like to ask for help. I like to think I can take care of everything. And this made me realize that I can't fix this. This is so out of our control. And we have become closer. We have become a lot more faithful. I've had to learn to ask for help and to accept that help. Whether it be from the church, people praying for us, people donating for our cause. Like I said, I was in the medical field. I'm used to being the caregiver, the one to give help. It's very difficult to be on the receiving end. But through faith, we're getting through one day at a time. Give us this day our daily bread. I completely understand that every day God gives us what we need to get through that day.
And I saw you were trying to raise money. So I was looking at your website last night, and I think you're trying to raise $300,000, and you had about $168,000. What is it? That's what makes people great. You know, that's what I was thinking about the other day. I'm thinking, man, $168,000. Somebody heard your story and said, you know what? I'm going to throw some money towards this family, because I just can't imagine myself being in that situation. I want to help this family out as best I can. It does make you start to appreciate humanity when you start people that you don't know, you've never met them before. They hear your story, they feel bad about the situation that you're in, and they open up their pocketbooks and send you a check. Does make you understand and appreciate the world a little bit more when you find people like that. I go through that with my radio. I mean, I was on radio. I told Isaiah, I said, you know, it's just so humbling when people support you that don't even really know you. They support what you're doing because they believe in causes, and they open up their checkbook and in order to help you get something accomplished. Same thing here. Did it kind of change your view and just make you a little more soft-hearted as to how many people care about your situation that you don't even know?
Absolutely. Humbling is the perfect word. It's incredibly humbling. It's overwhelming. And I try to thank people as much as I can, sending letters, sending emails. It's kind of a good problem, but it's hard to keep up with all the thank yous, because people have been so generous. People I've never met, people from other countries. And it's overwhelming. And all I can say is, maybe not on this side of heaven will I ever be able to thank some of these people, but perhaps on the other side of heaven I will. personally.
Amen to that. How has Braylon handled it? So I'm trying to think of what it would be like. I'm just thinking of my daughters, 16 years old. You get testing done. Somebody has to break the news that you have an aggressive terminal brain tumor. How did your daughter handle it? I'm looking at some of the videos you have out. She seems relatively in good spirits, which is amazing to me. The strength that God can give you when you need it is overwhelming at times. I've seen it firsthand. How did she handle it? How has she handled it? Are there ups and downs as she try to keep it straight, try to keep a strong face for you because she doesn't want you to break down? How has the relationship between you and her evolved once she found out that she had this terminal cancer?
There have been a lot of ups and downs. And she did share with me, she had initially a number of surgeries within a short period of time because she had post-op infections. So early on, I don't know which surgery it was, but it was early on in her diagnosis. She shared with me that during the surgery, she had like a vision, an experience where she felt like she was being held in a ginormous set of hands. And she said, Mom, I felt like Jesus was holding me. And I never felt such peace and such love in my life. I'm okay if I die. And I said, wow. Oh, no. You're not going to die. We're not going to let that happen. And so she did tell me that the only reason that she is fighting so hard is because what it would do to me if she were to die. And I don't want her to have like that extrinsic motivation. I want her to have her own desire to live. So what we talk about is she did come to have a favorite Bible verse, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, plans for you to prosper. And I tell her, God's not done with you yet. And think of the amazing story you'll be able to share someday and the influence you can have on other people. So
I love that. I do. I think that's exactly the way you should go about it. Think of the example you could set for other people. Exactly. If you're able to survive it and tell your story and motivate people that are in the same situation as you. It's kind of like the alcoholic situation, right? You get sober, and part of staying sober is helping other people. I think this is the same situation here, whereas if and when, I'm going to say when, how about that? When she survives and she's cancer free, just think of the lives that she could touch moving forward by telling her story.
Absolutely. And in fact, that's what Thomas is doing on X. He's the patient that reached out to Dr. Liao on our behalf. And what I've discovered when I dive deeper into this DC vaccine technology is there are a number of long-term survivors, 10, 15, 20 years that had the DC vax under in the clinical trial. They're out there, they're sharing their stories. And what's just maddening is the doctors don't tell you this. They don't tell you about these alternative treatments. They don't introduce you to long-term survivors. And in fact, there was one doctor that we had seen because Braylon is missing part of her skull bone, and because it got infected, eventually she needs to have that put back. So we saw this one neurosurgeon. He totally shifted gears, said, the alternative treatment that you're doing is a waste of time. It's a waste of money. She's going to die. Nobody survives GBM. And I said, there are long-term survivors. I've talked to them. And he said, they were either misdiagnosed or they're lying. Nobody survives this. And he is a highly credentialed neurosurgeon. He does research. He presents his research at international meetings. I don't know how he can say that.
Well, you wouldn't even say it if you believed it, I wouldn't think. I mean, what kind of, who would want to tell somebody that there's no hope? What kind
he
of
looked right into her eyes and verbatim, sorry, nobody survives this. You're going to die.
Ugh, it's just awful.
Then he said, you need chemo and radiation. And
right. That's where the money's at.
Bless her heart, she looked at him and said, well, if you're telling me I'm going to die anyway, why would I want to do that?
Right. You're seeing the business of cancer, which is very frustrating. I'm fully aware of it, by the way. My mother died of lung cancer at age 52. I watched how they didn't give her much hope either. What about right to try? When Donald Trump was running first time around in 2016, he made a big deal of this idea of right to try. Has that played any impact in the situation you're in? Because I'm thinking if you have terminal illness, according to Donald Trump, your right to try. And how does that play out? What you're saying is, I guess you have the right to try. You just can't. You have to go to London and try it, and there's going to be no insurance for you.
Right. Well, there's a couple of issues with right to try. Right to try doesn't mean a right to have it paid for. And it can be tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. The other issue with right to try is you have to find the manufacturer, whoever makes the treatment, willing to release it to you. And then you have to find a doctor willing to give it to you and oversee the treatment. And you can't always find all of that.
I was going to say, wouldn't it make more sense just from a humanitarian standpoint? I was just thinking if I was king, which I always say I should be king someday, Amanda. So if I were king and I looked at the insurance companies and I say, okay, you want me to take radiation and chemotherapy, give me an idea of the cost of these treatments over the course of the next 2 years or however long you give me 2 years to live. Here's what they're going to do for me over that 2 years. What does that cost amount? And they say, Rob, that comes out to $875,000. Okay, good. Then I want that $875,000 to go to the treatment that I prefer for my daughter. And let me have that $875,000. Same you're going to pay anyway, but let me determine how I want to treat my daughter. Why can't that be why can't that be law? Does that make sense?
I agree 100%. In fact, I've said the same thing, except for if I were queen. That's exactly how I would rule the kingdom. And the other thing that I wish were the case is especially if you're given a terminal diagnosis. I think that doctors, I know that we're a very litigious society, and that probably drives a lot of what they will and will not say. I wish that they could say something along the terms of standard of care would recommend this treatment. However, there are alternative treatments. I cannot promote them. I can't tell you one way or the other what you should do, but you should be aware of them. Here is a list of things you can explore. End of story. I wasn't even given that.
Yeah, instead they hid it from you. They didn't want you to know about it. Yeah, it's frustrating. How do people find you? If they want to donate to you, and we'll try to, I'm going to bring up your story. It hit me yesterday. I was sitting around last night getting prepared for the show, and I was looking at you and your daughter in the videos, and I thought, man, oh man, what a really strange situation to be in, and just the amount of pain and worry and anxiety and the whole thing that must be going through your mind on a continual daily basis. As you said, you can't get away from it. I would assume it dominates every moment of every day at this particular point in life. How do people donate to you? What message do you want to give to people? We'll promote it. I'll promote it on social media. I'll get as many people behind you as I possibly can. How do we do it first, I guess, is the question.
Thank you. I have a website. It's called curenotcovered.com. That has our whole story from the beginning to currently. It was just updated yesterday. So curenotcovered.com. Without the generosity of friends, family, churches in our area, strangers, people around the world, we wouldn't be where we are today. I pray that God continues to give me discernment, put the right people in our path, and continue to provide for my daughter. And like I said, day by day, we're getting through.
Any corporate money coming your way? Did any big corporations hear this story and say, we want to help? Because what you're looking for is nickels to a big corporation. We spend more money than that on advertising for a month than what you're looking for. Have you had any big corporate money come in?
Not yet. There are some cancer foundations locally that have given $500 here, $1,000 there, and they apologize. They say that they're limited in the amount that they can give to any one individual. And unfortunately, there's such a need for so many different people, but it all adds up.
Yeah. Amanda, did you, Did they give you any reasoning for the brain cancer? Is this a family issue? Did anybody say, you know what, this is an environmental issue? Do you have any sense why your daughter's going through this situation?
I have something I'd like to share about that. When Braylon was mere months old, she sustained a bump on the head. And she had a little goose egg, and I thought I better take her to the doctor. And the doctor said to me, she seems fine, pupils equal, round, reactive to light. She's not crying, she's not vomiting. But standard of care would dictate in a baby this young, when there's a visible bump on the head, we should do a CAT scan to make sure there isn't a brain bleed. Now, what he did not say is, however, research shows that 1 out of every 10,000 infants exposed to the radiation from a CAT scan could result in a brain tumor later in life. That part he left out. So I was a relatively new mom, afraid, okay, if that's what you think is best. I read an article 2 weeks after she had the CAT scan. Don't ever let your young infant have a CAT scan, especially if it's not calibrated for an infant, because it can result in a brain tumor later in life. Ironically, a coworker and I shared the same pediatrician's group. Her son fell down the stairs, hit his head as a baby. He had a CAT scan. Same story with my daughter. They both ended up with brain tumors at the age of 16. Coincidence?
Wow. I was unaware of that. When you said CAT scan, I have heard that before. You know, because you have the breast cancer situation. A lot of people, in fact, people in my life that I'm very close with, say that you should not get breast cancer screenings because of the radiation. It's looking for cancer, but also causes cancer, is what a lot of people are telling me. So that would fall in line with what you're saying.
Can I say one more thing?
Of course.
I can understand where, especially doctors, radiologists, people might say that I'm wrong. They might say there's no way. But the real issue, and I feel like part of my mission in life, once Braylon survives this, is I want to be a huge proponent of informed consent. Can I prove that that CAT scan caused my daughter's brain tumor? No, I cannot. But I should have been told of the risk. Especially because she was not showing any neurological symptoms. I would have then said, you know, let's go home. I don't want to play Russian roulette with my daughter's brain. And if she starts to exhibit any symptoms, we'll be back. But I wasn't given that choice.
I'm right there with you. All right. Amanda Hallinsby, Cure Not, what's it? Cure Not
Covered.
Covered. I
You're not covered.
can't even read my writing, Amanda. CureNotCovered.com. Isaiah? Where's Isaiah?
I'm here.
Would you like to give a prayer real fast for Amanda and Braylon?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
I was going to offer that. God, we just come before you right now. And we don't know why these types of things happen to anyone, Lord. We are merely humans, and you are the creator, and you work all things good, all things out for the good of those who love you, Lord. We know that in this situation with Braylon, as wild as it might seem, and as negative as some people can look at this and see and not see positive in it, Lord, we know that you're using this story for a reason, Lord. Just like her mother Amanda said, there's a reason this is happening to her, and that this story is going to impact so many people when she's healed, Lord. And we just declare it right now in the name of Jesus that she's healed from the top of her head to the soles of her feet. And in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amanda?
Beautiful prayer. Thank you.
Good luck to you. We'll keep your story in the we'll keep our audience aware of it. If you don't mind, I'll keep checking you out on X. But if you don't mind, drop me a line every now and again. Let me know how it's going. If we can help you in any way, shape, or form, we'll do it.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
Thank you for your time, Amanda. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
All righty. All right, everybody. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Isaiah, you have a daughter. And that stuff just man, I don't know, just gets me. You know, you start thinking about being in that situation, and boy, oh boy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was crying over here.
I know, me too. I have to calm it down. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Those stories just.
The Jeremiah 29. Sorry.
I think that's why you and I are
I
the
have
same.
a 2-year-old daughter, and so it's very,
Yeah.
Touches me, but even more so. I'm trying not to cry.
Get your water. I had to drink the whole thing.
But
of water
I've had a difficult life. I don't know if many people know about the crazy life that I grew up with growing up in foster care, and I was very physically abused growing up in foster care, and by my mom, who was a meth addict, her meth addict boyfriends, right? I was very physically abused by them. I had the worst life that any child would not want, right? And this is where I get choked up, but I know that I went through all that so that I can be an example. Be an example to others.
Right. And be a good father. Right. And protect your daughter and be a good father.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. What is going on with the dads crying today? You know, it is what it is. I got to tell you, God will figure this out for Braylon. God will figure this out for Amanda, but it is tough. All right. I got to get back into the news or I'm going to lose it.
I know. Me too.
Regain your composure. All right. Regain your composure. All right. Braylon's going to be fine.
Yes.
Those stories break me up. And it's one of the reasons I avoid it at some level, Isaiah, because I get choked up. I gotta do a show and I gotta regain my composure. This happens to me when I go down that road. And I knew when I was just looking at her story on social media, Kristen Shaughnessy is the one that said, Rob, you should follow this story.
Yeah.
Kristen Shaughnessy comes to us from MMTLP. It's completely out of the realm of cancer or anything else, but it is people that work together to solve issues and to be there for people in need that makes it all great.
Yeah. And what a powerful testimony. What a powerful testimony from the family of how they're attacking this and how they're taking it on. And you can be a victim or you can be a victor, and they're choosing victor.
Yes. Yep. And
for sure.
And she said we got a lot closer to God through this, and that's a good thing, right? The closer you get to God, the better off you're going to be. All right, let me get to. I got to get some advertising so I get my act together here. Let's do ECS. All right.
Tom just texted me about Larry. I think Larry's trying to get a website done. Is that correct?
Yeah, Larry Evans is getting go through Tom. I want to give Tom a shout out. Let me give Tom a shout out. We got a little like time here today. Let me find Tom.
Tom's the reason we got the great website, everyone.
Yeah, Tom is the man. Let me figure out here. Where is he? Tom, where are you, Tom? I want to give a shout out for his website design. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to regain my composure as I do it. Tom Webb. Why is nothing easy for me when I'm there it is right here.
Well, when you got 75 people texting you 85 times throughout the day.
Nobody understands. Okay, this is what he said. He goes, Rob, if you're going to read ad copy, this is what I would have you say. All right, so I'm going to give a shout out for our guy, the guy doing our website, who's been just wonderful to us. It says ad copy. If you're a business owner and your website isn't bringing in leads, you've got to check out Space Age Media Works. That's the name of his company, Space Age Media Works. And he came to me through John Grady, who's one of our advertisers. This is how the community starts to work together. Remember that. We all work together. Just remember, we all work together. Life's going to be better. We're going to be of like-minded. We're going to help each other out when we need it. It's going to be a great community. I promise you that. That's why I say People's Lobby, Missouri, and I got the shirt on. We got to stick together. This is what he says. They build custom websites that are fast, look great on every device, and are designed to turn visitors into customers. They also help businesses get more out of the content they're already creating by turning one video into dozens of clips and social media. And if you're ready to grow, they manage advertising campaigns that put your business in front of the right people and generate real leads. Whether you need a better website, more content, or a marketing strategy that actually produces results, Space Age Media Works can help. I'm terrible at reading script, but I did the best I could, Isaiah. Space Age Media Works. There it is. Space Age Media Works. There you go, Tom.
That was better than usual. I didn't even realize you were reading the script the whole time.
Really? Very nice.
Yeah.
I'm getting better and better then. All right. ECS Roofing. That's why we brought it up, because Tom is doing the website for ECS Roofing, which is our good friend, Larry Evans. The reason all of these advertisers are important is because they help the show. We try to help them. We ask that you help them. If you're listening every day and you're like, okay, I'm starting to enjoy this. I'm starting to understand where these guys are going. It's starting to make more and more sense to me. I want to get involved in the operation. just help our advertisers. That's what we're asking for. Help our advertisers when it's time for a new roof, hole in your roof, or a whole new roof. It is ECS Roofing and Exteriors. There he is. Been around for 30 years. Conscientious guy. Roofing, siding, decks, gutters, garage doors, custom exterior metal. Doesn't matter. The reason he's a little bit different than the other people is he's a licensed independent insurance adjuster. Therefore, when he looks at your roof, he already knows whether you're going to get help from your insurance companies. Most people wait around for some kind of storm, some kind of damage, and they go to the insurance companies to get their roofs redone because roofs are pricey, right? I think the old house that I lived in, Isaiah, I showed that picture to somebody, and they said that roof would cost $80,000 to $100,000 to replace it. My old house.
Gosh,
who has that kind of money sitting around? So you're waiting for the insurance to help you out. He
a
says,
whole other house, basically.
right, it's exactly right. He says, I know whether the insurance companies are going to work with you or not. He goes, the game in roofing is we knock on your door after a storm. We say that we see your roof has a problem and we can get the insurance company to work with you to get a new roof for you. He said they have no idea. It's basically just a advertising ploy. They want to get you into the system. Once they get you into the system, all of a sudden they think they can make you a customer. He says it's just a scam for the most part. If you look to ECS Roofing, you already have the insurance adjuster in your back pocket. Okay. ECS Roofing and Exteriors, been around for 30 years. Great people. Larry Evans, give him a call, 314-486-3567, 314-486-3567. Before the website goes up, if you want to look at their work, ECS Roofing and Exteriors on social media, on Facebook. When it's time for an oil change, Isaiah, where are we going? We're going to
Tony Clark's Valvoline Express Care.
Tony Clark, baby. Valvoline Express Care. Again, if you're in the St. Charles County area, let me give the locations first because I don't want you running all over the place. Very easy to understand if you're in one of these areas or close. Make the little extra drive. It would help. Tony has locations in Highland, Illinois. Let me read them off the screen with you. Highland, Illinois, Troy, Illinois, Cape Girardeau, Lemay Ferry Road, Warrenton, Missouri, Mid Rivers Mall Drive, St. Peters Parkway. If you want to check out the site or get coupons, go to valvoline-expresscare.com, valvoline-expresscare.com. Get yourself a coupon. Help us out if you don't mind. Everybody needs an oil change at some point. I assume you're driving. You're not walking or riding a bike everywhere you go. You got a car, need an oil change. Valvoline Express Care, 15 minutes from bay to on your way. Quick, efficient oil changes. All Valvoline branded products, no pressure. Great people. Valvoline Express Care, coupons at valvoline-expresscare.com. Our good friend, Tony Clark.
If the World Economic Forum could have their way, we'd be biking and walking everywhere.
That's right. saving the ozone layer or whatever they got going on now. Carrington Financial, your caringadvisor.com. Rick Babbitts. What else can I say about Rick Babbitts? I give the guy an hour on the show because I find him fascinating. Anybody who knows me, if I'm giving you an hour on my show on a weekly basis, that means I think you got something to say. He's a little bit different than me, right? Because he's got a little bit different tempo and pace. But if you're a cerebral person, if you're somebody who goes, well, I really would like to learn about history and I want to understand how that applies to finance and I want to understand what's going on in the world and the geographic implications of certain societies versus others. Carrington Financial, Rick Babbitts. Check him out every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Every Tuesday at 11 a.m. we have Rick Babbitts on. Financial planning expert, biblical principles with your money. My man, Ricky Babbitts, 314-671-0525. Good Lord, Isaiah. 314-671-0525. Your caringadvisor.com. Not a cookie cutter, financial advisor. He does things his way. He says, I'll get an understanding of your risk tolerance, and then I'll put your money into the best spots for you to preserve it, grow it, you name it, whatever you're looking for. He'll give you the best plans for your money. He is best in class. Rick Babbitts, 314-671-0525. All right, Isaiah, I wanted to play a little bit of this today. I might play a little bit of it tomorrow. We had Ben Keithley on. We had Gary Wiegert. They're both talking about A5. And did you see Josh Lehman video last night?
Yep. And then we will have Act for Missouri on tomorrow to do a formal rebuttal.
That's right. Act for Missouri is supposed to be on today. They had something going on, so they're going to come in tomorrow. They'll talk about A5 as well. But I want to play this from Josh Lehman because Josh Lehman, as I understand it, he went out and he did he learned the law, Isaiah. I talked to him about maybe a year ago. The funny thing about Josh, and he goes by Missouri Rhino Hunter. So if you know Josh, if you're in the grassroots community in the state of Missouri, you know who Josh is. Josh is very aggressive with some of these politicians. He sees a lot of them as just being misleading. I don't know if he feels that way about Ben Keithley, but he disagrees with Ben Keithley. And I wanted to play a little bit of it because the one thing that he has over most citizens is he went and studied the law. So he understands the language within the bill. And he spent time out of his life to go understand it. And I think he makes some really good case here against A5. And I want to play as much as I can. We've got, 10, 15 minutes in the show, and I think this is about that long. So check this out. This is Josh Lehman, Missouri rhino hunter, talking about Amendment 5 in the state of Missouri. If you have any kind of amendment like this going on around the country, just listen to what he has to say, because I thought it was very interesting. Did you not, Isaiah? Did you find this? I was
very, very interesting. Remind me, too. I meant to bring something up about Niles Stevens earlier with Gary, so just remind me.
Want to do that first?
Sure, I can. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. It won't take that long, but when Gary was in here, I was just looking into quickly. I was just scanning the MEC filings for Niles Stevens, and I found a Mo Tax Relief Now. I'm sure you've heard of them.
Yes.
You've seen them around. So Mo Tax Relief Now has donated to we'll show this part first. They've donated to Niles Stevens campaign right there. So you can see this is just some of the most recent. So on January 22nd, 2026, right there, we see this $250 monetary donation, right?
Yep.
Not that much money, but I just found it interesting that he is the managing director for the Mo Tax Relief Now.
Oh, so he's definitely for A5. Okay, so it's Dennis Canal, who I've interviewed Dennis Canal. Niles Stevens, there he is. I've seen him, and that's Tim Jones.
Yep, Tim Jones right there.
This is
Mo Tax Relief everyone else here. There's Ben Keithley.
And who's Thomas?
Director in Research. Thomas, PhD, was an Associate Dean Professor of Finance Legal Studies at the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Who's the other one? University of Missouri St. Louis, where I went to school.
James O'Brien.
There's James. Yep, James is. Well, he's tight with Dennis. He's the one that got me the interview with Dennis Ganal.
Yeah. So this is Mo Tax Relief Now, and it seems Grok's telling me it's an unethical situation that this organization, seeing as he's the managing director, is donating to his campaign. So I'm not making any accusations. This is all alleged. But that's what Grok's telling me.
All right, Niles, it's 250. I think we can handle 250.
Yeah, 250. That's why I said it's 250s.
It's not going to change the game for anybody.
No.
Here is.
But it just shows you how they kind of,
Well, it's you can make several arguments with that, Isaiah. I make this argument too. If it's something I agree with already, and you want to give me money for something we already agree on, I mean, how do I say that's anything wrong with that? But it's the impression, right? When you get money and politics together, that's why they should take money out of politics, of course, right? They should take money out of politics. Citizens United was one of the most devastating things to the political environment in this country that has ever passed, and it is passed by who? Passed by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is nominated by who? The executive branch. The executive branch all go to the same schools. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Who runs those big schools? Who chose the executive branch for the most part? Isaiah, I believe it was the Central Intelligence Agency. That's what I believe is going on. So you have it in the executive branch. They make the determinations who's going to be on the judicial branch, and then it all kind of works together. And you think these are three separate branches when clearly they are not, because they don't make decisions at the Supreme Court that make any sense at all. It's just like the most recent decision that you could come into the United States, with 2 days before your pregnancy, have a baby, and you're an American citizen. How fantastic is that? Give them all your money. Make sure they have insurance. Get an apartment for them. It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, you're at Disneyland and you had a kid on accident?
Exactly. Reminds me of
give them a passport.
Remember Cloward and Piven? Remember what they said? They were going to destroy America by destroying the safety net will be so big that it will implode society, because you'll be paying so much money to keep this thing rolling that it'll collapse in on itself. Cloward and Piven, right? Okay, let's do. I just thought this was really good. I'm going to give him his time again. Yeah. This is Josh Lehman again. What's the idea? Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Follow,
share,
subscribe.
Comment. I'm gonna have to get a jingle going. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. This helps us greatly. So again, if you're a daily listener, help us out. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Here we go. Josh Lehman, Missouri rhino hunter. This is his response to Ben Keithley, who was on our show yesterday concerning Amendment 5. Check it out.
Hello, Patriots. We're back again. The reason why I'm making this video is it's a response to Ben Keithley, Representative Ben Keithley, who was just on Robb Carter's show talking about the benefits of Amendment 5. And shout out to Robb Carter for having both sides of the story on here, on his show, because that's what freedom of thought is about, right? You guys have to make your own decisions. We all do, right? But you got to hear both sides, because for the longest time, you only heard one. So let's get into it. The very first thing he does when he's talking about it is he does what we call an appeal to authority, okay? And what that is when you say, well, what he said essentially was, any credible economist knows income tax is bad. Then he goes on to say, look at all the other states that don't have income tax, they're doing great, right? And then he also says he appeals to morality. There is, income tax is immoral. I agree with all of those things. All of those things are true. We're not arguing about wanting to keep income tax or not. We're arguing about, do we want to replace income tax or do we want to eliminate income tax? I, for one, want to eliminate income tax without adding any other taxes to the backs of these citizens, which is something that is already feasible to do. In fact, the reason why we had growth, we had 58,000 jobs added last year. Missouri was #1 in the union, okay, for job growth. And that was because of the tax cuts that happened. That's what they'll tell you, right? It doesn't matter, because those tax cuts happen by a bill and mechanisms that's already in place, meaning we can already lower income tax. All they have to do is remove the threshold, and eventually it will go to zero by growth triggers and cutting spending, which is a crazy idea, right? This guy went on to talk about how if there was more revenue, he would go after it. If we had more, if we could tax everything, right? Because he was saying that there's certain federal bans on what they can and can't tax when it comes to services. And he goes, man, if we could tax it all, we would have so much revenue. Guys, who is we? We is the state. This is a tax and spend Republican, right? He's not a conservative. He's about the state, their political class, okay? So where does the revenue that they're going to capture come from? It comes from yours and my pocket, okay? So the idea is, let's cut spending. Their idea is, no, we want to argue about how easy this is going to be. We don't want to have a conversation about what you're going to tax next. We want to talk about everything you're going to cut, how you're going to cut spending, how you're going to cut waste and fraud, and get out of our lives. That's what we want. Because when government is involved, okay, it's called the crowding out effect. When government becomes the one that does charity, guess what? The charity organizations go away. When government is the one that provides every service, the private sector goes away for services. Why? Because the government has gotten involved, right? It becomes basically a monopoly. And it's a statist control mindset, okay? It is on the way to communism, right? Oligarchy into communism. You can say what you want, but if I can't control things and you're crowding me out, right? You're taking me on that same path, okay? So then he has asked about the regressive tax, okay? The regressive tax is essentially saying, well, it's going to go and it's going to hit lower and middle income people more because they historically spend more on consumption. And he wiggles and squirms and says, well, I can't say that no one will be worse off, but it's actually the wealthy who spend way more on services. So it's going to be the wealthy that's putting the bill, and I'm okay with that. Whoa, hold on, buddy. I thought you were a Republican. I thought you had conservative values. Conservatives are completely against taxing productivity. Now you want to tax the rich? That's a wild statement, okay? And the reality is all they want to do is pivot from the question so that they can overcome it, so you vote for what they want passed. Remember, over $4.7 million dumped into this, and they don't know how to do ads well, and they're sending out these kind of people all over the place to stump for it, right? They've all been coached, but when you question their narrative with logic, it falls to the ground, okay? Now, one thing that he keeps talking about is revenue neutral. Revenue neutral is not in the language. It says substantially equal. Substantially equal is a subjective term. And the way the law works is the legislature writes it, or it goes into the Constitution, and then the Supreme Court, if they were to go over it, are going to look at the text. And if the text says substantially equal, then they're going to defer back to who? The legislature for their opinion on it, or their determination, because that's the language, okay? So substantially equal is not revenue neutral. He then goes on to say that the Hancock Amendment being suspended is not an issue because the Hancock Amendment doesn't even get triggered for revenue neutral bills. That's true, okay? But the reality is it's not revenue neutral, it's substantially equal. And if he was honest, or if he was right about what he was saying, then guess what? Revenue neutral would be no problem at all. It is the cap itself, and then you wouldn't need to suspend the Hancock Amendment. Yet we see a 5-year suspension on the Hancock Amendment while they're calling it revenue neutral. Why? Because it's not. If it was revenue neutral, it would not trigger the Hancock Amendment. Therefore, there would be no need to suspend it. Okay? He also talked about, taxing real estate agents for their services and helping you sell their home. And they're like, well, they already have the hidden income tax built into their fee on you, right? Well, guess what the income tax is? 4.2%. And his own estimation, which I think is low, but let's just use his, it's only going to go up to 5%. Wait, so now you're telling me I should be okay with the fact that I can see a 5% tax, even though I was being paid for a hidden 4.2% before. So I should be happy with a 0.8% increase. Give me the logic there, guys, okay? So nothing was ever discussed about cutting spending. What if the amendment was simply this? The state shall cut spending based on XYZ growth triggers and eventually eliminate the income tax completely. What if it was just about cutting spending and reining in the government in and of itself? But it's not. It's about finding new ways to capture revenue. For who? The state. And who does the state give money to? The corporations that come into the state to do business here. Remember how they gave a $5 billion tax exemption to Meta when they came into the KC area, right? What about all of these other data centers? They give tax exemptions to the corporate elite because the corporate elite have the money to pay them for the exemptions to be written into the law. This is not about us. This is not about ending income tax. It's not about being moral. It's about learning new ways to cover a deficit and to transition into a new phase where there's more services than anything else. Now imagine how many of us have digital subscriptions. You guys ready to see an uptick on all of those? These people are unscrupulous. And let me be clear, I don't think Ben Keithley is unscrupulous. I think Ben Keithley is a dope, okay? I think he is some...
You gotta admit he's good. I mean, this
so
is off the top of his head. He must have little notes there somewhere as he's driving. I know people are going to go, you shouldn't be driving and doing. I get all that, but I'm just saying, if you pay attention to the message, what he's saying is, why not cut spending and have triggers that cut the income tax as the economy grows? Why not put those two in combination with each other? They didn't do that, in his opinion, because they're just trying to find ways to collect more revenue from me and you and give carve-outs for the big corporations. I don't know if that's true or not. I just think it's something that you got to, what do you think, Isaiah? You have an opinion on that? I mean, I really don't know, because it's just not in my lane, quite honestly. My biggest pushback against A5, I'm just make it very clear for everybody. My biggest pushback is I just do not trust anything that the legislature does. As much as they might be good-hearted, it's almost like there's a rotten apple in the bunch. Therefore, the whole bunch is spoiled. There's been so many rotten apples over the course of the last 20 years that's very hard for me to go, you know what, you guys do it. I think you guys are good-hearted. You'll figure that thing out for us. I'm sure that we'll pay a less tax burden. It's just hard for me to get there, even though I think some of these people are very well-meaning. I do. I think some are very.
Yeah, I looked up what are the legal definitions and the difference between revenue neutral and substantially equal, because in the House Joint Resolution,
right there it is.
Right, it says substantially equal. Yeah. It doesn't say revenue neutral. And so that'll be something that I'll be hopefully get to ask Senator Brown and Bishop Davidson tonight is, you guys use this term revenue neutral, but that's not what's the language in
oh, you getting after it tonight? Can you get some video of that for me?
Hopefully. That's my goal.
Where are you going to be?
It's at Moe's.
You're at Moe's Pizza tonight? Well, let's just talk about Moe's for a second, because when it's lunchtime, where are you going, Isaiah?
Moe's Pizza, a landmark in Washington, Missouri.
At the corner of Grand and 5th Street. Moe's Pizza. God owns a place. He just works there. Listen, Moe's Pizza, I don't have to sell Moe's Pizza too much. I think from the last few times I've been there's been so many cars in the place. It's like, oh my goodness, how much business can these people do? But if you've not been out to Moe's Pizza.
You got a Robb Carter show ad too on the TVs in there.
Is he putting them up yet?
Oh, we got it. Yeah, I saw it there the other day when I was there. He said, he goes, thank you, Isaiah, for putting, he's like, everyone asked, so many people asked me.
Yeah, well, we
kind of the show. And he's like, and I just point him to the graphic now.
We kind of anchored ourselves to Mike and Brenda because we just love I just like them. I mean, I love their pizza and I love their environment and everything else, but I really like the people there. They've been great to me from day one. So again, Moe's Pizza in Washington, Missouri, a landmark in Washington, Missouri. Don't forget, God owns the place. He just works there. If you have any kind of gathering, whether it be a birthday party, anniversary, Bible study, or the like, any kind of gathering, and you're in the Washington, Missouri area, you got to get out to Moe's Pizza. They have that delicious pizza and salad bar. I think it's like $13. You get all the pizza and salad you can eat along with the breadsticks, delicious sandwiches, great chicken wings, and the best ice cream I've ever had. And I am a connoisseur of fine ice cream. In fact, I'm in Florida today. I'm going to leave here, and there's a place down the street that has pretty good ice cream. I'm going to go get a couple scoops of ice cream within the hour. Okay. That's how much I love ice cream. Mike and Brenda Johns, there they are on the screen. Great people. If you get out in the area, you got to get to Moe's Pizza and check them out. Moe's Pizza, when it's time for lunch and you're in the area, Washington, Missouri, Franklin County, Moe's Pizza, get there. All right, Isaiah, anything else we want to talk about today? Let me look at my list here.
No, I did just verify Mo Tax Relief Now is a PAC. So that's interesting too, to see that. So that's just discovering more and more information every day. And it's so hard because the problem that I'm having is that a PAC donates to a PAC, right? And so you have other PACs that donate. So right here, I'm just looking, as we're talking, I'm looking up MEC filings for Mo Tax Relief Now, and their July report just came out. And it says that they are getting donations from another PAC, right? From Missouri Future PAC. And so they got $3,697.73 from Missouri Future PAC. So now we have to figure out who's running that PAC and who's donating to that. You see what I'm saying? How it's all kind of hiding the money or flowing money through to different organizations.
Don't you just wish that money just in general was out of politics? I don't know how that system would look, but I do recognize right away, because it happened to me, and we'll leave the show after this, but it happened to me. When I started originally, I wanted to do a PAC. Well, my friend Ben Murphy, who's probably listening, Ben was involved. We were going to do something called Missouri Doge, right? It happened. The state went through Missouri Doge, but it was when Doge was all the rage. He came up with the name. He came up with the idea. I said, yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that because I want to be effective in influencing Missouri politics. I want to do that. That is something that is in my heart and soul. When you say God drives you in a certain direction, my mind all the time goes, boy, I just wish that we could get our elected officials in order of the Constitution, because if they just abided by the Constitution, were to abide by the Constitution, we'd have a better life. We'd have more freedom. We'd have more liberty. We'd get along better. Instead, the game is to make us hate each other, raise money off of our hatred because we have to be scared of one side or the other. And it continues over and over and over and over and over, and it never ends. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to fight I got my buddy Bill on here. Bill is I think Bill would admit that he's a liberal thinker. I've been friends with Bill since I'm 12 years old. I don't want to be at odds with Bill. His wife hates my guts because I supported Donald Trump. He goes, Robb, we've been friends for too long. My wife could hate you. I'm still going to talk to you. He's listening to the show. He's a liberal thinker, but Bill doesn't have hate in his heart. Bill's just a good person. So he's listening. He'll disagree with me with things that I say. But I think if we did not let our politicians and the money that backs those politicians pit citizen versus citizen against one another, we would start to see that really this is just a political game to create anger and resentment against another party to raise money for their own party, when nothing of consequence ever gets done for the people in general. Nothing gets done of consequence for the American people. Nothing. It's a redistribution of wealth. That's what they want. That's what they've got. It doesn't matter whether it's Democrat or Republican. They both do it. Wait a minute, Isaiah. Let me remind everybody. That is a fact.
That's the fact, Jack! That's the fact, Jack!
And everybody can see it. And Bryant Wolfen is one of my favorites because he says, Robb, when you go off to Jefferson City, and he told me this privately, and he even said it to Jake Jackson when he interviewed him, nothing good happens here. The best thing we can do is block legislation. That's basically where they're coming from, is to block legislation, because everything that they do is to take your liberty and freedom away and pad the pockets of the people that keep them in office.
Mm-hmm.
Not every one of them, because Bryant Wolfen doesn't see it that way, but for the most part, that's kind of how the system is working right now, not just in Missouri, but all over the country and probably all over the world. Right. So that's how I see it, Isaiah. Mm-hmm. Anything else for today?
No, just, I tell everyone to keep doing their own research too. Like I'm just, I'm not some special person who knows, how these PACs work or anything. I'm just a normal citizen too. And all I'm doing is just going and going to the MEC's website and searching for these packs, and then just looking for the looking through the filings. And it's a lot more simple than I thought. I use AI to my advantage to help me find certain things easier. And so I just tell everyone to keep doing that, because I think it's important to educate yourself before we vote on this. And I think there's a reason they're putting these things on the ballot in August and not November.
Yeah.
That's one of the other things that I have a problem with, and why I
Low
want people
turnout.
to educate themselves. Yeah.
Low turnout. You drive the Republican base there. The Republican base gets all the literature. They're the ones that are going to go out and vote in the primary. So you're going to get the base of the Republican Party, who's probably not paying attention very much. They think they're in charge. They're tied to the party. If the party says vote for amendments 3, 4, and 5, they're going to vote for amendments 3, 4, and 5, because if you're not for 3, 4, and 5, then you're a Nazi, or you're a communist, or you're something crazy, or
or these PACs will stop donating to your campaign as they're donating to campaigns.
As simple as that. But they frame the other side as being, leftists, and I don't consider myself a leftist. I just don't know whether this is good for Missouri.
Is Gary a crazy leftist?
Exactly. It's just I don't like that they play politics. I understand it's the game. I just don't like the game.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair enough? And by the way, so who's going to be there tonight? So you got Bishop Davidson. Who else is going to be there?
And Senator Ben Brown.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. And you got the
it's an Americans for Prosperity event happening at Moe's.
Americans for Prosperity at Moe's. That should be fun. Okay. And you got your questions ready?
I don't have I think I have some questions ready, but I'm going to do some
Ask
more
about that language.
Oh yeah. I'm going to be asking about the language. What was another thing that was off the top of my head that I was thinking about? The substantially equal was one. Let me grab it. I have all my highlights here in my notes. The carve outs, because we already have a carve out in the
marijuana
in the Constitution. We have it for marijuana, but they already are not. They're not going to allow local subdivisions to reduce taxes on schools.
Yeah,
so
why not?
Who else are you gonna? Who else is going to lobby you to get some exemptions from?
Yeah, that was the one thing with Ben yesterday that didn't really quite understand the answer was, aren't we really giving you guys a lot of power to pick winners and losers? That's one I don't know that I got a.
That's my third thing, is that you are you are asking us so that we can get for Amendment 4, right? So that we can get special interests out, you're asking to take power away from the people, right?
Because you guys are going to resist special interest in Jefferson City, which is kind of hard to stomach.
I can't believe that, because Senator Mike Moon, right, got up and said, "Can I inquire?" I think it was Senator Mike Moon, right, who said, "Can I inquire of the lobbyist, right, who wrote this bill?" Or so one of the senators did, right? And that's the whole point, right? Is that they understand that the lobbyists are the ones writing these bills, but just because they can't go through this initiative petition process doesn't mean that they're still going to influence them. They can still influence them, right? They can still influence them to write certain bills. Doesn't mean that just because they're not writing them now doesn't mean that they're not going to influence. That's what is that what you're asking us? Is that what you're asking us to believe? Really?
Right. That's hard for me to understand as well. You got to ask one other question for me, Isaiah.
Yeah.
We can write it down if you'd like me to, but I would like you to ask him, say, if there's a political prisoner in Missouri, what is the role of government to solve that situation? If there's a person who is in prison right now who's demonstrably innocent on the charges that have been filed against him, he's been in there for 13 years. And don't even ask him if they're going to do anything. What is the role of government to rectify that situation? And just let him see what the role is. What is the role of the state government to rectify a situation that is demonstrably untrue?
Mm-hmm.
He's in prison for something that didn't happen, and everybody knows it didn't happen because he did not shoot the cops. That's what he's in prison for.
Yep.
And he videotaped it. You know that nobody says that. Nobody even recommended that he did, but that's what he's in prison for, is for shooting a cop that he did not shoot. He was shot 4 times, and he sits in prison for 30 years on something he absolutely, positively, without a doubt, did not do. And just ask him, what is the role of government? Because if they can't fix it, then I don't know what kind of system we have. What system do we have when all of your government officials recognize that a man's being held as a political prisoner, that the charges that were leveled against him are not only untrue, they're completely fictitious, and we can prove it. And then just the idea that the Missouri Highway Patrol came to him out of their jurisdiction and did not have local jurisdiction with them to serve a search warrant also is not legal. So what are we doing here? What's going on?
there's political prisoners at the federal level that we talk about all the time that get tons of coverage and that get, pardons and all these things. Why are we not talking about the state political prisoners? Right.
There's a website out now that I think the family sent me something the other day. I was looking through it, and it's a national organization that speaks out against political prisoners all over the country. And Rot Mama says Robb is the officer retired or still active. They got rid of him as soon as the trial was over. Within a week of the trial, he was dismissed of his duties. You got to remember, this guy was on psychiatric drugs when he shot
Valium,
Gary Winehouse. Yeah, some kind of what are they, SSRI, SSI, what are they called, SSI drugs, and the whole thing is just absolutely maddening because it's so simple to recognize this guy got railroaded and everything leading up to it was illegal, and then they shot him 4 times and then they put him in prison. As a journalist, of all things. The guy was a journalist. I mean, the reason it hits me so hard, and I say it every day, I want to remind people why I keep harping on it. That could be me. It could be Isaiah. If you can't hold a check on power in your society, well, then the power is going to just eat you alive. And if the people don't stand up for guys like Winehouse, if the people don't stand up for guys like Jeffrey Winehouse, then what kind of society are you leaving for your children where the Missouri State Highway Patrol going, hey, what? We're doing something illegal and we don't like you talking about it? Well, let's just go to his house. Let's come up with some reason to search his house. Let's take his stuff from him. And when he comes to get his stuff, we'll just shoot him in the face and say that he tried to kill us. And then we'll just put him in jail for the rest of his life. Everybody will know it because he videotaped it, but nobody will do anything about it because he's a political prisoner and everybody knows it.
Yep.
Is that the society we're going to leave for our kids and grandkids? I hope not. I would not like to be Jeffrey Winehouse. I don't know how the guy does it because I would be so angry. I guess you got to get with the Lord because he's a very religious guy, but you got to get with the Lord. But I would just say, man, oh man, how can your government do this to you? And how can the people allow the government to do that to you? And when it's brought to their attention, sit back on their hands and go, boy, I just hope something happens. I hope something happens for Jeff. That's really terrible that he's in prison for the rest of his life. I mean, it's kind of a bummer. What's for dinner, honey? What are we gonna have for dinner tonight?
Yeah. What's funny is that the person who's taken it the most seriously is Michael Burton.
Yeah, he reached out to me.
That's the funniest thing.
Yeah, Michael Burton, the Democrat, he's the first person that reached back out to me and said, "Hey, I did see this. He said when I get reelected or if I get reelected, he goes, I'm gonna put my attention toward this." He sent me a text the other day. Where are the Republicans?
Great.
Isaiah, where are they?
And it's not like you gave him an opportunity. You didn't give the Republicans. Right.
No, I mean, I lean to the Republican ideology. I said it's an easy win. Just take the easy wins. This is an easy win. People will be very proud of you if you push back against this and say, wait a minute, this guy's in prison as a political prisoner. We can't allow that as the Republican Party. Everybody sees it. It's right in our face. This Robb Carter won't shut the hell up about it.
Soon we're going to have the free Jeff Winehouse t-shirts and no one will be able to, we'll be doing Capitol days and everything.
Absolutely. Let me get my music out here first. So get him out of jail. That's number 1. Nope.
Housekeeping.
ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. All right, ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. And then why is Jeffrey Winehouse in prison? Games people play. That would be the government. Games people play. Got to get my songs in because they make me feel good. I'm going to get music involved in the show at some point. Isaiah, that's all I got.
You've been doing better today. You kind of reeled it back a little bit, but I loved what you were doing the last couple of days. I loved it.
Well, we had interviews from 10:30.
Yeah, the interviews. I know it's hard to do it. Yeah. It's like advertising. It's like I gotta rush the advertising in between the guests, or else I'm not gonna be able to do it.
I've got some really great drops. My daughter does this all the time. So she'll be sitting there and she'll be watching TV, and I'll look over and she'll be down at her phone, and she'll just be cracking up to herself on the phone, and I just think it's the cutest thing ever. I go, "What is so funny on there?" She goes, "I don't know the comments on it." She's just cracking up to herself, but she does it kind of quietly. I was doing that last night because I was thinking of drops that I could use for the show. And I just have some that just had me tickled. I'm like, oh, that would be fantastic for the show. And I was too lazy to put it together last night, but I will, because we want ultimately to be fun and humorous. We got to bring fun and humor and lightheartedness back to this thing. I don't want to be this guy that is,
I love the MTG post today. That was fantastic.
The sarcasm
and the Charlie, I think the Charlie Kirk video and the MTG post kind of, we made a little fun too, right?
Yeah, have some fun. All right, life is supposed to be fun. Want it to be entertaining and humorous at the same time, sober and realistic. So there you go. Isaiah, have a great day. Get those videos for me tonight. We got to ask about A5. You got to ask about the language in the bill, and you got to ask about Jeffrey Winehouse and what is the role of the Missouri government when they know, everybody knows that a political prisoner sits in prison for something they didn't do. What is the role of the Missouri government to rectify that situation?
Yes. I'm hopeful that I don't know what the question and answer looks like, so I'm hopeful they let me ask questions. We'll see.
Just jump right in there, Isaiah.
Oh, that's my plan.
Well, listen, we are Moe's Pizza, not them. We are Moe's Pizza. So we are Moe's Pizza.
That's a huge benefit I have walking into this.
They're in our home court, so we're going to ask the questions. Don't be intimidated by anything. Ask that question. Make sure that everybody gets it on videotape, and we'll put it on the show tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Please do that for me, especially
that's my plan.
The language number 1 and the Jeffrey Winehouse case number 2. If you get those on video, we'll start the show with them tomorrow. I want to see how those questions are answered because I don't know how you can answer a question like that. I just don't know how you answer it. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Isaiah, great job as always. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on the Robb Carter Show. Get out to Moe's Pizza and have some lunch right away, immediately.
See you guys.
See you tomorrow.